Howdy, friends. This is Owen Thomas, and I play Twisted Fate in League of Legends. And you're listening to The Gaming Outsider. Only 2 jokers in the deck, and I get dealt you.
Hey there, Gaming Outsider community. This week we're talking about those settings that are available whenever you start up a new game. We'll share how in-depth we and the listeners go when it comes to those settings. In news, it looks like the Horizon movie won't be happening as soon as we had hoped. And as for new games, Alyssa played the DLC for A Little to the Left on PC, and it's called Seeing Stars. Also, Zack tried out Zenless Zone Zero on PS5. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. We also have a community at facebook.com/groups/thegocast if you'd like to join up, or our Discord server. There's a link in the show notes for this very episode, and we would love it if you joined. It is Sunday, July 7th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zach Parkerson.
Hey, Scott. Doing, man? Good. Have you seen my Blu-ray copy of Gone in 60 Seconds around here?
I have not.
No, it was here a minute ago.
How long you been wanting to do that?
Well, yeah, since I got on the call today with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I thought about it midday, and I was like, I bet Scott will he'll get a tickle out of this.
I love dad jokes, dude, and that one was awesome. So, and the raucous laughter you heard is also joining us, Miss Alyssa White. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm okay, but Zach, I've got to say, your copy of Gone with 60 Seconds is probably gone with the wind by now.
Oh, well, I don't give a damn.
My favorite dad joke that I've discovered recently is I would go to if I'm in the kitchen with my wife and I go to the refrigerator to get something out. Before I do, I knock and I wait a second and then I pause and then I open the door, and it took like 3 or 4 times before I finally did it. And my wife was like, "Why do you keep knocking on the refrigerator?" And I said, "There could be a salad dressing in there."
Oh boy!
And I'm allowed 1 dad joke per day. And that's it. Then she gets cranky. So,
oh yeah. Does she like give you a courtesy chuckle or anything, or?
No, because she's trying to discourage it as much as possible. So, but
you get the eye roll or the.
She's like, "Okay, you got me," and that's your 1 for the day. That's usually the lecture I get. CB is not here again. Yes, he's still on the team.
R.I.P.
He's still. A gaming outsider. He was planning to be here, and last night, I don't even know if he told you guys this, but
I got the message.
He had to go into work because the guy that was supposed to work today herniated a disc while doing his marital duties.
Oh,
I didn't get that message. I got the message of why he had to skip and not the why of the why.
That was why so he's pretty upset that somebody, I didn't know you could, obviously you can do anything, I guess, but I've just never heard of somebody getting injured while doing the deed.
Well, it sounds like they were having a good time.
Yeah, apparently. But he's going to be out for quite a while, and CB's not happy. So, and he was all upset because he had played some new game and was getting ready to talk about it, and so he's not here. But what are we going to do?
Sounds like, I like that his coworker had to brag that it was he couldn't just come up and I was doing some frisbee golf.
Yeah,
yeah.
I slipped and fell.
Yeah,
it's like no.
I fell down some stairs.
Right.
But you know what CB will be at is going to be R2V2 this year, which again, as a reminder, Saturday and Sunday, October 12th and 13th. Make sure you mark your calendars. By the time you hear this episode, there should be on social media a Google form. I haven't even told you guys about this, but I needed some help from the community because we decided this year that we are going to load R2V2 with arcade cabinets. I have located a vendor that is willing to let us use 20 arcade cabinets.
Wow.
For a price, obviously. We're going to be paying for it, but we only have a limited amount that we can actually use. He's got about 20 of them. So I put together a Google form that has all the games on there, an image of an arcade cabinet, and a YouTube video that takes you to show you what the gameplay looks like in case you wanted to reminisce.
Sounds like a Scott Clark form, all right.
Yeah, it's a total Scott Clark thing to do, but I'm letting everybody vote for 10 of them just because we want to get some input from everybody to see which ones they would like to be able to play. They'll be free to play for everybody. They'll be there for both days, so it's another incentive for everybody to come to R2V2. It's going to be awesome. And speaking of arcade games, Tilted 10 on Saturday, July 27th here in good old Rockford, Illinois. I know you guys can't make it, but we're doing a 24-hour live stream for charity. Going to raise some money for the Children's Hospital in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Looking very forward to that. They're going to let us have the run of the entire place, 24 hours. It's going to be awesome. I have no idea what I'm going to play, but we're going to do our best to stream that for 24 hours straight. I would guess there's going to be a lot of Mountain Dew involved. Probably.
Right. You can finally have your Kickstarts for the year.
Yep.
I've been having them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
I've been getting better, but I still every once in a while I'm not doing like 2 or 3 a day like I was for a while there. Not every day, but anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the games that we've been catching up on. CB, what have you been playing? Oh, wait.
Hilarious.
Alyssa, what have you been catching up on?
Well, I played Still Wakes the Deep and beat it.
Yeah?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I gotta play this game.
It gave me very heavy The Thing vibes. And I am all for it. Plus, I adored the Scottish accents. And like Zack said, they do actually speak in the Scottish dialect. It's not really Gaelic. And they do, in the subtitles, put the English, like the simpler terms. I actually did not have to rely on the subtitles that much because I'm so used to hearing those words in Outlander that I've learned what they mean by now.
Okay, you were prepared.
But I appreciated that. I really enjoyed where the story went. I don't want to say what happens, but did you like the ending?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like the ending. I will say I like the ending.
So we can't discuss so much, but yes, I like the ending.
Yeah, can't discuss much, but very heavy The Thing vibes, Scottish accents. You're feeling very claustrophobic and all that during the gameplay. Highly recommend. It's on Game Pass.
I need to play it and then us do a spoiler cast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You should. That'd be fun.
Is that a good? I haven't played it, so I don't know.
I think
is
it'd
it
be
worth
really
talking
interesting.
about what happened?
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about. Sure, it's only like 6 hours long.
I think
Maybe
it's
I'll
gonna
make
be
that happen
5 hours.
Yeah, that sounds right.
5-6 hours. Yeah.
Scott, it's easily doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a Saturday one sitting deal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
What else you been playing?
I also played. I don't know how you actually pronounce it. I'm gonna say Toem.
Okay.
Very cute game. You're basically just the visuals are hand drawn, black and white, and you're just this little guy who decides he's gonna go on a journey and become a photographer. And your grandma gives you a camera, sets you off on your way, and
You have a pig best friend?
Sadly, no. That'd be so cute, though.
Is this a Beyond Good and Evil reference?
I was trying.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it.
There's no grandma in that story. Jeez, stretching the reference.
But you go to each different region, and you have different challenges you have to do, but you solve them by taking pictures of things, or by focusing your camera on certain things. And that's the gameplay. It's just, you're trying to solve these different puzzles. I don't know what you would actually call them. They're not really puzzles.
That sounds like a cozy game, Alyssa.
It is.
Yeah.
They basically give you like a little riddle, and you have to solve it. Some are more obvious than others, and you don't have to do every objective in every level, but I did, because I wanted to get all the stamps. You get stamps for every one you do, and I'm like, I need the stamps. The Girl Scout in me was like, I need all the badges.
Oh.
So this sounds like the Sunshine and Rainbow version of Senua's Saga.
I'm trying to see how they compare in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the perspective puzzles, and like you're just taking pictures.
Yeah, you are moving the camera. You can also move the camera around to see like hidden things in the environment, which was cool. It only takes 4 hours to complete the base game. If you do all the objectives like I did, it'll be shorter if you don't do it. And then there's an added New Game Plus mode where there's an extra section that takes about another hour to complete.
All right.
So, and it is leaving Game Pass the 15th. And that happened the day after I finished it, so I cursed the game to leave Game Pass. So if you want to play it, and you have 4 to 5 hours to kill, you need to do it before the 15th.
Okay. Got about a week or so.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, it's a short game, so you could easily do it 1 or 2 sittings if you wanted to.
Okay. Anything else?
And I'm also currently playing Until Then, which is a newer game.
I feel like this game's kind of been making the rounds. It looks like it's meant to be sad.
I feel like it is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm about 4 hours in, and I've heard I've heard once you complete the campaign, the story's not over. So you still have to keep going. It kind of fakes you out. That's all I've heard. I'm enjoying it so far. I feel like it's a game that not everyone's going to like because it's very much it's pretty much a visual novel and a walking simulator with a few mini games sprinkled in here and there. So very heavy on the visual novel walking simulator mechanics. So if you're not into those kind of games, you're probably not going to like this, but it really reminds me of A Space for the Unbound from last year, besides, there's not puzzles in this game. It's very much about a boy named Mark, who is living in a fictional version of the Philippines in this game. And he lives by himself, his parents are abroad, and it's just him dealing with loneliness. His friends, they're all getting ready to go off to university or do whatever jobs they want to do, so they're kind of drifting apart. He meets a new girl that kind of opens up his world some, but she has some things going on. And then also just a little sci-fi twist that they keep getting weird senses of deja vu and people are going into comas after an earthquake has happened. A little bit of sci-fi. So you got the slice of life, heavy stuff going on, along with a little bit of sci-fi. So that's up my alley. And I really enjoy it so far. But yeah, I would say check it out. Check a trailer out. Check gameplay out if you're unsure about it. It was worth it for me.
Art style. It's like they're animated sprites.
Yeah, which again, that also reminded me of A Space for the Unbound, the visual style, because I don't know, it's very charming to me. I love that kind of visual style. Mm-hmm. So for me, this is perfectly up my alley. I'm really enjoying it, but not going to be for everyone. I can guarantee you. Just check it out. If it looks up your alley, get it. It's currently on sale, I think, for $18 on PlayStation and on Steam, which is $2 cheaper than asking price. But
well, there is that summer
it's still
going
only
on right now.
Well, the Steam sale's only $2 off, so yeah. Same price as PlayStation.
I think it's just a 10% launch discount.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
pretty common?
I think it's available until July 11th at that price, I believe. I could be wrong. If it's $20 now, by the time you're listening to this, I'm sorry. But it was worth it for me. I'm really enjoying it so far.
All right, moving on. Zach, how about you, sir?
Yeah, so I'm playing some more Kingdom Come Deliverance. I learned how to read. It's pretty exciting.
You learned how to read? Oh my gosh, what a huge achievement.
As a blacksmith's son, you do not know how to read. You just pick up books.
Oh, you meant in the game.
Yes, yes, in the game. It's true. Actually, I've been faking it the whole time, Alyssa. I do not know how to read.
He's been using ChatGPT to write his reviews.
That's right. Yeah,
that's why they're so good?
Right. I actually invented ChatGPT for the sake of editing reviews of the Gaming Outsider. I learned how to read. That was kind of fun. I love that you had to learn how to read. That's the kind of game this is. Otherwise you're trying to put, there's you're trying to track down a killer and he writes on the wall in blood, but Henry's just I don't know what it says. Yeah.
It's just there's some blood there.
Right.
Says something.
Which is fun. But yeah, I'm just playing more of this. I'm loving it. Finally getting somewhat competent at combat. I could probably take down 2 guys now at a time.
Wow.
So basically an expert swordsman. There's a cool raid scene where you're marching up a hill with 20 other guys and getting in skirmishes with 20 enemies. It was super cool. It felt very like a low budget Battle of the Bastards or something.
Ah, okay.
A lot of fun. But yeah, been playing that. I'll probably keep playing that. Loving it still, which is great. But then I also started up Dredge because Scott started up Dredge.
I started it up a while ago and I forgot to tell you.
I forgot that we were gonna. I was gonna play it when you guys played it. Gosh darn it!
Well, now we're telling you.
Yeah.
I guess we all forgot to tell each other.
Yeah.
Sure. Everyone's coming.
How are you liking it?
Yeah.
I'm digging it a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, it's unless you got to play this, it's pretty good.
I wanted to play it, so I'm definitely gonna have to. Yeah.
Gotta get in on this. I mean, it's less horror than I feel like they sell. If that makes sense.
I feel like that comes later.
Yeah,
it's got to, right?
It's kind of, it's like a creepy atmosphere throughout, and being out in the pitch black of night on the open ocean is, definitely tense, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's mostly just a fishing game with fun music. Being out in the ocean it gives me Beyond Good and Evil vibes with the kind of light music playing in the air, and so just kind of enjoy being on the open sea and getting money, and then investing in better fishing rods so I can get different kinds of fish. It's all just
I think it's really interesting, that in that game, if you like hit something with your hull, it damages your cargo.
Okay.
And depending on where you keep the cargo on the ship, so like if you have a fish in the cargo on the right-hand side of the ship and you damage the right-hand side of the ship, you lose that cargo.
Right.
So like it kind of makes you strategically place where everything goes. Like if it's really high priority, I'm going to put it in the middle.
So it can have the best chance at being surviving.
Right. I mean, you got to really kind of screw up to hit something, at least in the early stages of it. But yeah, I'm digging it. I just love getting new equipment and going out and using it and then seeing what happens. And
right.
Yeah, it has a potential to be very checklisty.
Definitely.
I love the art too. It's just like this painterly, cell shaded.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what the term would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It painterly is the best I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
It's a good looking game.
There's something also kind of charming about your quest list just being like a bunch of post-its like just stacked up on top of one another.
As though you're just keeping like a post-it board in your cabin.
Yeah, and they don't go away. Like, so when you complete it, it's still there.
So you get a satisfaction of trying to... Because I'm looking forward to when I finally find all the quests and the board is full.
Right.
Now I have that image in my head. Is it from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I've never watched it. Is it Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie Day's in front of the post-it board, like with his
the red
arms?
lines?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who that guy is.
That image came to mind when you guys were talking about the post-it notes.
I've never watched that
I haven't
show
either, but I just see that picture all the dang time.
Guys. It's very good.
It just seems like a bunch of people I really don't want to spend a lot of time with. They all just seem like despicable people.
Well, you could say the same for Arrested Development.
Yeah.
That's true. Except
for maybe George Michael is the only non-despicable one, although he's trying to hook up with his cousin, so your mileage may vary.
Oh, he's going for the Alabama route there.
Maybe. And
I saw her in something else recently. The girl that played Maybe.
Yeah, Aaliyah Shawkat.
I think it was a trailer for a movie. I was like, hey, it's maybe Funke.
Yes.
I know she was in a movie recently called Babes, where she gets pregnant, I think. But I don't know if that's the movie you're talking about.
She's an interesting looking woman.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It's
No,
just, just very unique looking.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Nobody warns you about this growing up. Is that like I had a really big crush on Baby Funke, when I was 12 when the show was coming out. And now I go back and watch it. I'm like, well, this is kind of like, it feels weird. Like I had a crush on this character, but she's still 13.
Well,
so like now I don't have a crush on her.
I mean, I had a crush on Lily Sobieski back in like the Deep Impact days, and she was, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah. It's just an interesting feeling. Part of growing up, I guess. The character doesn't change.
I mean, she looks very similar.
Yeah.
She just,
yeah.
Older. So. Yeah, I understand. Anyway, but no, Dredge, very good. I like you're kind of like you're out hunting some eldritch artifacts is kind of the main quest, tying it all together. For some creepy dude on a lighthouse. But yeah, it's mostly fishing.
Yeah.
They do get a lot of because you kind of go out to these different groupings of islands as part of your main quest, and they get a lot more mileage out of the variety of things you can do in a boat than I would have thought.
Okay, I think you're further than I am.
Yeah, probably a little.
It's difficult for me to go on forward without doing all of the side stuff, like without like solving everybody's problems or whatever.
I have that same issue, Scott. So.
Well, yeah, I'm certainly trying to.
Like, there's one dude that just says, "I just need random objects," and it literally says on your post-it notes, "Get random objects for man," like or something like that.
Oh, I gotta ask you where this quest is. I don't think I've come across that one.
Oh, really?
Have you found any of the fish shrines?
No.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
Are there fish deities in this game?
Yeah, I'm giving an offering to some kind of fish monolith, and it's taking the fish and then congratulating me for it. So yeah,
I got to dive back into this game because I was really enjoying it. It's just a very relaxing game.
That's what I'm enjoying about it.
Okay, yeah. I didn't expect relaxing.
It's kind of like it's a cozy horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so many people were like pushing the horror angle of it that I didn't think about it being, relaxing.
I do feel like the marketing pushed it harder than it exists in the game.
Yeah. Because that was very prevalent in the marketing.
Or there are some times like if you stay out too late, something attacks your ship and you can't really see what it is. Yeah,
I was gonna say maybe I'm just not spending enough time out at night.
Yeah.
Although you have to go out at night because sometimes there's species that are only at night.
Right.
And the aberrations, which are the monster versions of fish, spawn more heavily at night.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun though to discover.
I agree. It makes that cool noise whenever you get one.
Oh yeah, kind of the off kilter sound effect that it makes.
Yeah.
But then you'll find a crab that has like eyeballs growing out of its claws. It's really
Yep. Alyssa, you should pick this up, and we should all three.
I already have it. It's just
you do?
Yeah, I need to play it now.
All right.
You got to start. I'll slow down. I'm sorry. I'll let you guys catch up. So
No, you don't have to slow down.
Yeah, just do what you got to do, man.
no, it's fun. It's fun.
There's nothing out to play if you listen to other podcasts.
Well, that's preposterous. There's so much to play, and
I have a confession to make.
What'd you do?
I divorced myself from one of my regular podcasts this week.
wow.
I'm not going to say which because I'm not going to be that guy, but
you issued a separation from it, huh?
it's like 3 weeks in a row. They're like, I just didn't have time to play games.
No,
again
he
this
said
week.
divorce, so he is done with it.
I unsubscribed
Wow, it's pretty severe.
over 600 episodes, and I just am like, I got better things to spend my time on than listen to people.
Complain that there's nothing to play. When
Yes.
there's endless stuff to play.
Right. But it's not just they're not the only podcast that says that. I've listened to other podcasts. Even Nextlander was saying, that's kind of a dry spell. What are you guys talking about?
Well, I feel like
Go to your backlog.
What you're really saying is the majority of my interest is in major AAA games, and none of them have none of them have appealed to me lately.
Yep.
But then you kind of have to admit to yourself that you're only really into a very specific sort of game.
Which is fine. There's
Of course, absolutely
wrong with that.
Yeah.
By
all means, that's what you're into.
I like to try anything and everything because if I don't, I'm never gonna find those hidden gem games like Mini Shoot Adventures, which is
or Rack and Slay.
or Rack and Slay. Yeah, it's just like these random games that are just very fun to play, and if you play them for 3 hours, that's $6. That's
One of the games I'm most excited for of the year is like a 2D gear gated steampunk game coming out next week.
Yeah,
called Gestalt Steam and Cinder. Looks amazing.
I haven't even heard of that one.
I did watch the trailer for it, and it does look gorgeous.
Yeah, the pixel art's unbelievable in that game. I'll send you a trailer, Scott.
There's so many that have been out that I keep hearing about, and I have not got a chance to play, like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Everyone just keeps talking about that game. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, they said you need to keep a notebook for that game.
Yeah, it seems hard.
It's intimidating.
I thought that'd be a fun one to do, like to play with my wife, like because one of the podcasts I listened to said that they were supplementing each other in terms of the puzzles that the husband couldn't figure out, the wife was able to figure out, and one that the wife wasn't able to figure out. Like that just seems like a fun. I don't know. Well, team building doesn't seem like the right term for a marriage, but
no, it would be smart for a logic game because then that your partner is going to be approaching it from a non-gamer brained viewpoint, which would probably help.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I've been playing this week is Hellboy Web of Word. I definitely thought it was pronounced Web of Weird this whole time.
So did I.
did too.
But everyone in the game says Word.
Okay.
And
I mean, phonetically it looks like Word, but I just
I guess I assume weird.
Yeah.
I think it looks like weird, but you're delving the web of the word that you're delving into is run by the Story Weaver and the Three Norns. So I guess it's all about the tapestry and like when you arrive, they dub Hellboy the protagonist of the story. So it's all about that storytelling. So I guess it would be all about the word, but it definitely looks like weird.
Yeah.
But this is
so. What is this? Is it a roguelike?
Yes. So it's a beat 'em up roguelike run-based randomizer, right?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Run-based randomizer.
So it's an RBR, and that's exactly right. You're playing as Hellboy, and you're going through these different biomes or worlds, and they're pretty different. Like there's your traditional kind of. There's like a Scottish Highlands themed area, and there's also like a sunken city themed area. So there's like a nice little variety to them. What really caught me off guard at first is how outrageously easy this game was. So there's two sections to each of the 4 worlds, and I beat them and their boss all through all 4 worlds without dying a single time.
Wow,
which is pretty antithetical to the genre, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So that threw me through a loop. But then after you get through that last area, there's a bit of a plot twist involving the worst kinds of people in history. Who if you're a Hellboy fan, you already know they're Nazis. And
that was going to be my first guess.
That's what popped in my head for.
Yeah, no, and it's barely a Hellboy story without Nazis at some point. And but then they're kind of disrupting the word, and that's when the game really, because it only takes you like an hour and a half to get to this point. And that's really when the game kicks off. Now there's stronger enemies in each area, and you have to get through 3 sections to complete a world. So you kind of got to go back through the game, and this is where it gets more difficult. The bosses remain pushovers, but then that third area you get that's added, like stapled onto each world, is much more difficult, much more interesting. I am starting to die. Still not an RBR where you're going to be like bashing your head against a wall or anything. It definitely like wants you to complete it, if that makes sense. And it's probably just to maybe draw in, like if you're a Hellboy fan and maybe you don't play a lot of games, you could actually realistically get through it. But that's sort of the structure to it. And your hub area is this place called the Butterfly House, and you can chat with people. The British Paranormal, was it Research and Development? Is that right? Anyway, the BPRD that Hellboy works for. It's got a few different members there that you can chat with. A little added dialogue each run. Thank Hades for changing that in the genre seemingly forever.
Yeah,
and it's
jump back into that too.
But the core of the combat is it's all really just one-on-one fights with big enemies, and it's all about like Punch-Out style. You're dodging specific directions so that we can hit them with a punch. So you're like either dodging away or you're ducking, or if they're raising up if they're like going to like really anchoring back, you want to like duck down so that we can hit it with an uppercut kind of thing. It's a very, very interesting, and you get weapons and charms, of course, and little run specific upgrades. But it's
any permanent upgrades, or is it just
there's permanent upgrades up the hub, and whenever you die, like there's no risk of losing, like the currency to upgrade stuff at the base or anything like that. It's it all just always comes with you. So you're good to go. So yeah, you will upgrade slowly but surely, no matter what is the point. So you'll eventually get through everything. It's just kind of a nice light RBR. So it's which I think it was kind of nice. At first it was a little bit of a turnoff. I was like, this is kind of a cakewalk. Then as I was getting in the flow and like how fun combat is, like the dodge, duck, dip, diving, and dodging.
Nice.
It's it was kind of like, I was like, it's kind of nice to play one of these and feel like you've got a shot right away.
Nice. Instead of just feeling like, I got to just keep doing a run over run until I build up.
Yeah. And maybe it's just because I play a lot of difficult games and maybe I need a break. But it was very refreshing. It's definitely what I needed. And Lance Reddick as Hellboy, man, he's bringing the goods.
Oh.
I'm so used to Ron Perlman's voice coming out of Hellboy and everything. But Lance Reddick, I feel like everything I see Lance Reddick in, he's always been like kind of calm and collected.
Yeah.
But he's actually like trash talking and yelling in this game.
That's
awesome. Silence, right?
Yeah, Silence from Horizon.
Yeah, I'm just used to him being very, I'm not going to say demure, but like just cool and collected.
Yeah, definitely. But he's actually like trash talking, and he's very good at it. Like he makes something as simple as "good night" sound badass. Like nice. no joke. Like you really gotta. It might, if you're a Lance Reddick fan, someone's worth playing for that alone. And then the look of it is, it looks like the comic book, like just straight up like Mike Mignola's artwork. It's unreal.
Oh wow,
like that's in cool. motion. It's truly impressive how they're pulling it off, and it does do the Spider-Verse thing.
Oh,
there's a framing on the twos, but
yeah.
But much as my worry with South of Midnight was, like, you really don't notice it after a while.
Nice,
your brain straight up gets used to it. Like it is definitely like the first 40 minutes or so, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but your eyes start to not care.
Well, that's the nice thing is with a game, you've got a lot more length than you do a 2-hour film.
Right.
Like by the time, when you start to really get used to it, the movie's over.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Whereas in Hellboy, I'm like, I barely notice it really anymore.
Is this available everywhere or just PC?
I think it's just PS5, PC, and Switch. I don't think
it's
on
sale,
Xbox.
Or did you just had to play it?
I had been watching an eBay listing for a physical copy, and it dropped to a satisfactory price.
Gotcha.
Nice.
So I picked it up.
I may have to check that one out when I'm out there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
next week
maybe.
Yeah. As for me, you mentioned Rack and Slay. I am continuing to play that. Seriously, if you like pool games, billiards games at all, you owe yourself to go drop to $6 for Rack and Slay. It's fun. My only complaint is I wish I had more direction. I feel like I'm just completing a level and then bumping up the difficulty slider one notch each time and just seeing how far I can get. I don't really know what I'm aiming for, so I wish I had a little bit more, I don't know, like a story mode or something, or or I don't know why. I complain way too much for a $6 game, but it's each one is just fun to play. So
well, see, it sounds like you're just having so much fun with it that you want it to have more, right?
Yeah, like I finish a run and then I just keep going. So I went back to Slice and Dice a little bit on my iPhone because my Apple Arcade subscription lapsed, so I no longer have Slay the Spire and Downwell and these other what was the Dicey Dungeons. I don't have those anymore. So I went back.
Was it worth the $5 a month to pick them back up?
I mean, it probably is worth it. It's just that I've got so much other stuff to play.
Yeah.
I rarely play on my phone. I was playing on my phone because I was on vacation, and or if I my wife wants to go to Six Flags. We haven't been to Great America in like forever, and
why would
it's
you
been
want
like
to go?
over a decade, and like I'm just like I don't want something to do in line.
I was gonna say why would you just go there? You stand in the heat, you get roasted, you wait in the line for 45 minutes, and then 30 seconds later, the ride's over.
Yeah, like I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. Do you need to pay for the fast pass? You got to pay for the fast pass, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
okay.
Outside of that, I played another couple games that are just kind of out of left field. But on Saturday or Sunday rather, no, day was it? It was Friday. Excuse me. My buddy's kid really wanted to go see the movie Inside Out 2. He's like 9.
Oh yeah.
And so I took him to see the movie. And instead of bringing him back, he and his mom and his dad were like on a date. They went to the casino or something. I bet they did. So they were still like, out. And I said, well, I'll just bring him back. We'll play some video games at my house. And you guys can pick him back at the house when you're done. And they said, okay. So we came back. And I'm like, what am I going to play, with a fifth grader? And he's like, I'm going through the list. And hey, what do you want to play? And he's, let's play Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I'm going to be a fifth grader. So we played that for a little bit, and it's cute.
So you got the real experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask, were you smarter than a fifth grader?
There were a couple that stumped me, actually. I did not know. It was a true-false question about whether or not the stalks of rhubarb are poisonous before you cook them, and I thought I remember that was in fact true, but it's not. The rhubarb, the stalks are fine to eat. It's the leaves that are poisonous if you eat them without cooking. So I did miss that one,
did the fifth grader get it correctly? Correct?
No, he got it wrong as well.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, do they even teach about rhubarb anymore in school?
This kid is smart, dude.
Oh.
He really is a smart kid. Especially
considering the school systems in America.
I just saying he's a private school kid, so I'm just.
I see.
But the other one we checked out is I was like, well, let's play something multiplayer that we can play together. And so I downloaded Castle Crashers Remastered, and I haven't played this game since early Xbox 360 days.
Right. Like
and I remember
maybe 2009.
Yeah, it's old,
Yeah,
but they remade it. I don't know what needed to be remade with this game. I don't remember.
But if you throw remastered in the title, you can sell it again.
Yeah. So I remember playing this. I played this once with my Diablo 3 buddy, and we both were just insanely bored, like immediately. But I don't know what it was. I sat down with this kid, and we played this game, and we laughed our tails off. Have you played it?
I have not. But it sounds like you need to play it with a child to have the most fun.
There is a dreadfully boring video game. I do not like Castle Crashers at all.
I remember not liking it at all, and I was just cracking up. And I mean, there's a lot of 13-year-old boy humor in this game that I did not remember. At one point, I was riding a deer that was excreting rocket-propelled poop from behind it.
Oh, yeah.
And we just thought it was the funniest thing. And then all of a sudden, this bear comes up, and I'm like, oh, we got to fight this bear. And the bear just... We were in a forest, and the bear defecates and then just walks off. And I was like, oh, I guess we answered that question. A bear does poop in the woods.
Wow. Nice.
And I think that was the joke they were going for.
Well,
but
yeah,
I genuinely had a lot of fun playing that with them. So I feel bad because I think he went home and said, Dad, we have to buy Castle Crashers. So
a lot of poop humor in that one, huh?
I mean, it was only like the first 3 or 4 stages, but yeah, I was kind of like, I wasn't ready for it. I was like, did that deer just poop itself? And then, of course, the 9-year-old or 10-year-old, however old he is just, dying laughing.
Well, it turns out everybody poops.
It's true. I was going to bring up the Family Guy reference. Well, our family's Catholic, so, Have you seen that episode?
No, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
So they're at the store, and the clerk he says, "Well, everybody poops is a popular favorite." And Peter goes, "Well, my family's Catholic, so." And the clerk or the bookstore owner says, "Well, in that case, we have you're a bad child, and that's concentrated evil coming out from behind you."
Oh yes, I do remember this joke actually. Yeah,
it's cracked me up, made me laugh. So, quick Baldur's Gate 3 update. I don't even know if this is music worthy, but I'll leave that up to Kevin. We did not get very far. Only played for about 2 or 3 hours. Got through about 3 or 4 encounters in the last portion of Act 2. And these battles were doozies, man. The first one we had to redo 2 or 3 times. Got completely wiped out. In one instance, we were trying to save a NPC character that was fighting alongside us. That we really liked this character, and we wanted her to stick around. Uh-huh. And no matter what we did, she made the dumbest decisions in the battlefield. It was just very, very frustrating.
You should cast a sleeping spell on her or something. Just kept her out of the fight.
Well, the problem was she did she helped a lot. She just made very not helpful decisions.
Was she like Leroy Jenkinsing?
Pretty much. I mean, my character is, an archer, so I got that going for me. So I'm definitely keeping a distance anyway, but it was a little frustrating. But and the second one was we actually completed the second big one on our first try, but it was a long battle because there was these enemies that kept spawning. It was like shoot out these eggs or whatever that if you didn't destroy them, they would turn into another enemy. So you had to get them out. It made more sense to go after them, which we didn't do it first. Go after them first. So we finally changed that strategy up, and we were able to pull it off. I pulled it off because I did something accidentally. So I was playing with Paul Hine and Kevin. Mm-hmm. Paul Hine had cast a spell that basically covered the entire area with a sheet of ice, which is awesome because every time an enemy tries to walk on it, they slip and fall, and they go prone, and now you have advantage when you're rolling against them, which is a very
Three Stooges ass strategy there.
It really was. So anyway, that spell wore off, and I'm like, well, I need to do something like that. So I'm going to cast this electricity spell or electricity arrow that I had, but the game basically said, well, just so you know, that ice that was here, it's still there. It's just not ice anymore. It's now water. So it electrified the entire area, including my character that was in it, including Paul's character that was still in it. And I thought I totally screwed up the entire encounter, but we both jumped out, and it wound up actually helping us win the battle, which was awesome. I just love that the game thinks of stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's very clever.
Like, I just thought we were in the clear and I could do whatever, but no, there's still water there. It was pretty cool. So I genuinely don't know what's going to happen next, although there was one moment where Kevin found a spot in the wall, and you have to have a conversation, or not a conversation, but you have to decide, you see something hidden in this wall, and you have to decide whether or not you're going to stick your arm in and do it or not. And I did, and then I had more dialogue choices, and I was able to withdraw my arm and roll to be able to get my arm back out because I didn't know what was going to happen. Kevin decided, well, I'm going to do it, and he went in, and all of a sudden he wound up in like another realm completely.
Oh, yeah, yeeted inside.
So me, Paul, and the other character that I'm controlling are walking around in this area, and Kevin's off in somewhere, and he's just kind of describing what he's seeing. But the really cool part about that was he wound up having a conversation with the big bad of the entire game. And there was some pretty crazy story beats that went on with that.
Let's see, the octopus-headed guy? Or no?
No, that's a mind flayer you're thinking of. Those are the ones that just put the thing
I just said
at the beginning.
Okay.
But I don't want to ruin.
Understood. Sorry, didn't mean to pry.
No. I mean, this has kind of always been a spoiler topic anyway. But yeah, I don't have anything super big.
Is it Baldur, and he's defending his gate?
No. Right. I do know that's not the case.
But, you say so.
But it has to do with the. I don't know if you've seen the guy that's holding the dodecahedron-looking thing on the cover art. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's actually a big part of the main story of the game, and that came into play a little bit finally. So that's all I really have to update on Baldur's Gate 3. I was hoping to be able to play some more this morning as well, but alas, I had to go move some firewood. So that did not happen.
Alas.
To bring the last back. We don't say that word enough.
Sure.
Anyway, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Before we get to the news, I want to remind you guys about Yetee t-shirts. I can finally tell you guys that I have purchased a Yetee t-shirt. I've been waiting for that one that really spoke to me. And Zack, I think I showed it to both of you.
I didn't see it.
I'm going to have to share it with you. It is a Legend of Zelda t-shirt, but it's all red, and it's got like a dark Link, and he's kind of down on one knee just with the sword out and looks super evil, and it's just like the coloring is awesome. I was hoping it was going to arrive today so that I could actually wear it on the stream, but it is, Zack can attest, it is a pretty cool looking design.
It's definitely cool, yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting it because I've had one before, but I really want to wear this red Zelda one because it just looks awesome.
Dark Link's so cool.
Dark Link is very, very cool. But this is the one, like, I'm talking it up, and you can't buy that one. This is one of those that they'll put a shirt up for 24 hours, and that's the only window you have to buy that particular shirt.
Yeah.
So you can't actually even get this one anymore. Now, they do have some that you can buy. You know, they've got ones based on Mega Man and all sorts of different games. Super Meat Boy, I think there's a bunch of shirts in there. But they have like a rotating daily selection of shirts that you can only buy on that day. And they are all super high quality. They've got all kinds of games they cover, pretty much anything that comes to mind. Check it out if you get a chance. It is the Yetee, TheYetee.com. He's got a lot of awesome shirts, and he's not paying us to say this, by the way. This is not a straight up sponsor read. We're just we really do like these shirts, so check them out at theyetee.com. Moving on, let's talk about some trailers. We got a trailer for Transformers Galactic Trials, which is coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC October 11th. It looks like a racing game-ish.
Well, I think that is. It's like didn't they say it's a roguelike?
I must not have got the press release. I just saw the video.
I think you're doing runs. I think that's how it works. But I think it does mix up racing and combat. So if I remember the trailer correctly, I thought it sounded kind of cool for a Transformers game. You know, they got
my group that I shared it with was not impressed with the trailer. They thought it was marketed pretty poorly, but kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm newly minted, you know, and intrigued into the franchise thanks to those comics that are coming out.
Yeah. Also, Karate Survivor, which is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of Vampire Survivors, you are a karate champ. It actually looks kind of cool. We also got a trailer for Nintendo Switch Online with an update for July. These games are all available right now on Nintendo Switch Online for the NES. Cobra Triangle, Solar Jetman, The Mystery of Atlantis, Mach Rider, Golf, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, and Urban Champion. As far as the news goes, Nintendo had some interesting things to say about AI this week. Battlefield is getting a crossover with Dead Space. The Horizon Zero Dawn series looks to be dead in the water. And Nintendo claims that there won't be shortage issues for the Switch successor. Zack, what would you like to talk about this week?
Hey, man, Nintendo, they know how to get things done, and they say no thank you to AI.
Yeah, that was kind of refreshing. Everybody else is like jumping on the bandwagon.
Right, yeah. The Nintendo's president, Shintaro Furukawa, he said generative AI, which is becoming a big topic recently, can be used in creative ways, but we recognize that it also may raise issues with intellectual property rights. Dude, and nobody takes their IP more seriously than Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right? They won't even let their characters show up in Fortnite.
Didn't they like pull it from some big video streaming thing recently? Like they made them pull all of their Nintendo content. Remember that?
I don't know.
It sounds familiar.
Or it was a Steam game. It was a Steam game where you could like make your own mod kind of thing, and people were putting Mario and stuff, Nintendo characters into that. I can't remember what the name of the game is because I never played it, but yeah, they've made them pull all of that.
Sure. I have no idea what you're talking about. Basically, Nintendo has no plans to use generative AIs to make its games and plans to continue to use their experienced employees. They say, we have decades of know-how in creating the best gaming experiences for our players. I like that. I like their big swinging energy. While we are here open to utilizing technological developments, we will work to continue delivering value that is unique to Nintendo and cannot be created by technology alone. This is in stark contrast to EA, Ubisoft, and Microsoft all having plans to pace in the use of AI including as NPCs that players could converse with. Yeah, this is great. I'm glad that somebody out there is against how all of the AI tools are trained off of theft. So that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty refreshing. You think that would be kind of a everybody's on board thing? But no.
You'd think so, but like so many people are like all about AI. I get emails in my inbox for the Gaming Outsider trying to get me to like use AI for stuff.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, no thank you.
Not while I'm alive.
It's kind of crazy to me. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, but
I think that might be a typo on my part.
Yeah, it's Furukawa.
Yeah, there's no K on there.
Okay,
my
that
apologies,
makes more
Zack.
sense. Yeah, that sounds more familiar.
Yeah.
You set me up for a Ron Burgundy situation.
I know. That's my bad.
Go F yourself, Nintendo.
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Yeah,
I would love to review your games.
We love you. Please don't sue us.
I actually bought a Nintendo game today. I've never played Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Wii U or the Switch, and the Switch version was on sale today, so I picked it up at Target.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to playing that. I've never played it.
Good, Switch sport and the physical. Yeah, I think this is great news. I'm glad that somebody out there doesn't want to use AI, because why would you want to? Other than, getting rid of employees and making your games seem terrible. But, other than that.
Here's the one thing I will say. I understand that we are against AI, and I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
But how are RBRs designed when it comes to, randomization? Is that some kind of AI that is doing that?
Right, but it's a procedurally generated algorithm.
Right, but it's based off of the IP that made it. It's not
They're probably
doing it off of the internet.
You're presumably writing the code yourself. You're not having a machine write the code for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's the big difference.
It cracks me when people call themselves AI artists. That's the funniest one.
That's actually a term. They say
it is, yeah.
Because they punched in something in a box.
Yeah, the box punched out something for them. Yeah.
And they'll be like, AI artist. I'm like, no, it's just the AI doing that.
Right. The AI is the artist. You're serving no function in this situation, my friend.
I feel like we talked about this briefly last week, or maybe it was before we started recording, but have you guys seen some of the AI videos that are coming out? Like
the Toys R Us one?
Well, yeah, it was like an actual commercial that it did put out, right?
Creepy as hell, yeah. That would turn me off from shopping there forever.
I feel like that Toys R Us commercial is what I feel like people said creeped them out about the Polar Express movie from like the early 2000s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which I thought looked okay by comparison to the stuff that's coming out from AI.
I have not seen this commercial, but now I have to after we were finished recording.
It's pretty rough.
They basically recreated the founder of Toys R Us, who has since passed.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like a kid version of him that grows up into what he was when he founded Toys R Us. And it just looks off. Like it just...
Uncanny Valley kind of thing, or...
I'm not even sure how to describe it. You just gotta kind of check it out.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
But
but no, I appreciate Nintendo, who is, without question, if there was a winner, of the console manufacturers, they are undoubtedly the winner.
Yeah.
So I appreciate them taking the stance. It's good. It's refreshing. I also like that they stand with their people. They're like, we make the most fun video games around. We will always, we will continue to do so through the know-how of our staff. That's great.
Plus, they're the only developer that I've ever heard of where when things got rough, the CEO took a pay cut.
Right.
Yeah.
And the CEO right now only makes a couple million a year.
That's unheard of pretty much everywhere else except for obviously small developers. But
right. Yep.
Crazy.
But the companies that fail and have to lay people off because they're poor managers, they get $20 million bonuses somehow.
Yep.
Interesting how that works.
Did you hear that? Like, sounds random, but the Arizona iced tea guy had an interview where he's like, "Yep, we're still keeping it at 99 cents."
Yeah,
for
I saw that. Yeah,
Arizona iced tea. He's like, "Could we charge more and make a lot more money?" Yeah, but why should someone have to pay more than $1 to have a drink?
Right.
It's like what he said in this interview. I was like,
well, he's right. It's not hard to decipher that the problems right now with the economy are because of price gouging of corporations.
Yeah.
It's the only way they get to have record profits while everyone else is struggling to make ends meet. It's not hard math to figure out.
Yeah. I get you.
So shout out to the Arizona iced tea guy.
I know.
Yep.
For just being happy with making tons of money as opposed to more money.
Alyssa, what story would you like to talk about?
Well, kind of piggyback off that with another Nintendo story, and they claim that there will not be shortages for the Switch successor this time around.
There you go. Let's keep patting Nintendo on the back.
Yeah. President Furukawa says that the best way to alleviate scalping is to make sure that they supply enough to keep up with the demand, which...
imagine that.
Yeah, makes sense. He also mentioned that previous issues centered around the lack of a certain semiconductor that was needed for the original Switch. According to him, that issue...
What?
She Ron Burgundy it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, she didn't, though, because he would have read it correctly.
Yeah. I'll start over the sentence over again.
No,
According to him...
I think we should leave in your
Okay, we can leave it in, okay? It'll be funny. The issue has since been resolved and won't be a problem for the Switch 2, or whatever it will be titled. Still absolutely no details on what the next hardware from Nintendo will actually be.
Except for the people that claim to know.
Yeah.
What it is. But.
Of course, and yet they seem to continue to be wrong.
Yeah.
Did you see what else they said, though, about scalping? That they're going to take, that not only they're going to try to produce enough units so that it's not a big deal, but they're looking into local laws based on country to see what legal measures they can have in place to fight scalping.
Oh, awesome.
Go Nintendo.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be helpful in America, I imagine, because there's very little regulation.
Yeah.
But I bet in like countries like Europe and stuff, or England, it's probably not going to be great for scalpers. I don't know. That's super cool. Good for them, man. Do whatever you can. There's nothing scummier than a scalper.
I agree, and I say that as someone that has bought things and sold them for a markup in the past, but I have not in a decade. There's
a huge difference between if you buy a Switch 2 because you're not really interested in it and you want to do a quick flip. I think that's definitely scummy, but survivable. Mm-hmm. But the people who buy like 15 PS5s just to sell them, those people should rot in hell.
Yeah. Or they have like a picture of all of them and look what I got, guys.
Yeah, those are sacks, yeah.
And there's like, somebody out there that just genuinely just wants to play it.
Yeah.
And then, don't want to pay double the price.
I hope those people trip into traffic.
Well, last story I want to talk about is this Horizon Zero Dawn series, which I was looking forward to. Because, man, that seems like a fun world to see on the small screen. The culprit in this case seems to be the showrunner, Steve Blackman, who has been accused of, quote, toxic, bullying, manipulative, and retaliatory behavior, unquote. Blackman, of course, denies the allegations from 12 staffers and the official HR complaint.
I love that 12 different people say something. You're like, yeah, they're all lying.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually 2 projects that he's involved in, which includes whatever Horizon was going to be, is, according to Rolling Stone, not moving forward. Now, I don't know if that means it's never going to happen, but it's definitely not moving forward right now, which is a bummer. I mean, hey, as long as nothing's happening with BioShock, that's the one I'm more interested in. But I would have liked to have seen Horizon. Although I had heard rumors that Sadie Sink was going to be playing Aloy, and I don't think I like that.
I doubt they were anywhere near casting for this.
Why not? I don't know.
So it was just a rumor I read?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know how you could do Horizon. It's giant robot dinosaurs on a TV budget.
I mean, what Game of Thrones did.
Yeah, but they did that years into it.
Yeah. Maybe.
The bigger fantasy elements didn't come into that show until later. Horizon would need it to be up front.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I still think, what's her name? Leslie played, John, nothing Jon Snow.
Yeah. Rose Leslie.
Rose Leslie should play Aloy. She even kind of looks like her.
I was say, is that because she already played a bow-wielding redhead?
I wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah. All right.
I just think she kind of looks like Aloy. Might be she needs to be a little younger, maybe. I don't know. But
I don't know. Hopefully she'd be more interesting as Aloy.
I always forget. Every time I bring up Horizon, I forget how much you did not like that game.
Yeah, it's pretty boring.
Anyway, that's it for the news. I felt like I was scraping the barrel trying to find stuff this week, but hopefully things will pick up next week. Before we move on, I want to remind everybody that we are an independently funded podcast, which means we do pay for our podcast hosting services and website, all with the help of those that support this show by contributing to our monthly Patreon. And you can help us out at patreon.com/thegocast. But we're not just going to ask for free money. We're going to do something in return in the form of bonus episodes. Or you might even get the episode, the regular episode, a day earlier than everybody else. But at the $3 tier, you get one extra episode. At the $5 tier, you get two. And we actually just published 2 new episodes. First off, I sat down with Kevin, our producer, and talked about live music, going to concerts, what our favorite ones were, some tips about going to a concert. I know Zack is going to be all over this episode.
Yeah, it'll be a great way to lull myself to sleep.
Yeah. It was a really fun conversation, and we kind of want some feedback from you guys to see how you like it, because we would like to do that and bring in some guests and kind of share your concert experiences and stuff. But I know we're a video game podcast, so if it's too off the wall for what we're doing, let us know. And speaking of off the wall, we did our Peace of Mind episode with the 3 of us. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get to my topic, though, because we went way longer than we thought we were going to, which is awesome, and it was a good conversation. And upcoming, I'm still working on playing that Evolution, the World of Sacred Device game that Kevin wants me to play, and he has started playing Paper Mario, so I am going to do my best to get that game finished by the end of the month, so stay tuned for that. And we're kicking around some other ideas as well. We'll get them, though. But again, if any of those or any of our past content, guys, if you sign up right now and you've never been a Patreon subscriber, you have 2 episodes a month for the past several years available at your fingertips. And by the way, there is a link on our website that has cataloged all the episodes, because I've used the Patreon app, and it makes it a little bit difficult to kind of just browse through past catalogs. So we made it easy for you and put it all in one place, and it's really cool and fun to use. So check that out at thegamingoutsider.com and sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/thegocast. With that, let's go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, list is a little bit longer this week. Anything that I should be checking out?
Yeah, video games are finally coming out. Sci-Fi Puzzler Dross comes off of PC and onto Switch July 12th. Darkest Dungeon 2, which released on PC last year, makes its way to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Switch July 15th. Aerial Knights We Never Yield, the sequel to Never Yield, comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC July 16th. New first-person shooter Evil v. Evil comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC July 16th. Gestalt Steam and Cinder, gear getting game I discussed earlier, coming to PC July 16th. Play as a bunch of birds and flock, coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC July 16th. Manage Your Own High School with Let's School, coming to all consoles July 16th. Magical Delicacy, a little 2D adventure game, but also you get to cook a bunch. Coming to Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC July 16th. Nobody Wants to Die is a first-person cyberpunk detective story, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC July 17th. Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, 2D action platformer, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, and PC July 18th. Dungeons of Hinterberg looks like a cool half-cozy game, hanging out in town, half creeping into some dungeons for some loot. Game coming to Xbox Series consoles and PC July 18th. I believe that one is on Game Pass. Mm-hmm. You can therapize some vampires in Vampire Therapist, where I assumed you were going to be a vampire who was eating people that were your clients, maybe. But it's fun. I think that would be fun. Someone's complaining about an abusive partner, you can go eat them for them. That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But instead, you are the therapist for vampires. You're helping them through their vampire problems. Hopefully, you do your job well. Otherwise, you might be the meal. That comes to PC July 18th. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is a new action game coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC July 18th. And then Nintendo World Championship NES Edition, which I assume Scott is excited for, coming to Switch July 18th. Alyssa, of these many options of this big week, although it is weird because no games are coming out, which of this list intrigues you?
I have 2. First up is Nobody Wants to Die, because I am a sucker for a detective game, and this one just has, the cyberpunk look to it and kind of a Bioshocky look to it as well.
Yeah, surprising production values on that game.
Yeah, and also that trailer was genuinely funny at points. It's dark, but it's funny. Right. And also, the name itself just sells itself to me. Vampire Therapist. Yeah, I'm all about mental health. Absolutely. I love vampires. I need to play this game. Anyway, anyhow, I will play that game because I need it in my life.
Hard not to think of you when watching that trailer.
I know. But also I thought about you too, because he's a cowboy.
Well, that is always exciting. What about you, Scott? Anything on this list?
Actually, a few. You mentioned the NES World Championship NES edition. I actually pre-ordered the deluxe version of that. So I used the excuse that, we're going to use this at R2V2. So I gotta buy it.
Yeah, you have no choice. Gun to your head.
But also, I looked at the trailer for the Gestalt Steam and Cinder, and I am sold on that game. That animation, the way the characters run and everything just reminds me so much of Symphony of the Night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
I would say the main character with her long hair kind of reminds me of a Mega Man Zero.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In the way
I think her name is Alethea. Alethea?
Yeah, something like that.
It's a cool name. But the other one is Dross, Dros.
I don't know. Looks like Dross to me.
Dross.
Dross. Who knows? Someone knows.
See, phonetically, it needs two S's to have the long.
Yeah, the Dross.
Okay, so Dross it is. All right, take it back.
Yeah, but I don't know. But
language is hard.
He's the English teacher. I'll trust him.
Yeah, I'm gonna be an English teacher. That's crazy to think about. But I don't know. It just looked very Zelda-ish puzzles.
Yes.
Not the IP, but I was actually going to review that one, but it looks like someone from our community, David Newman's actually going to review that one for us. So I have to decide if I'm going to play it just for funsies.
I know.
But
perish the thought.
I know. But there is a lot coming out, man. Yeah, no games coming out. I don't know what's up with that.
Sorry, Alyssa, I'm sorry. You said there's a cowboy in the Vampire Therapist trailer?
Yeah, the therapist himself is a cowboy.
Oh my god, I don't know how I missed that. Oh, okay.
I was like, how did you miss that? Because he's very much a cowboy. He's got a 6-shooter.
So vampires and cowboys.
Yeah.
This might be a game of the year. I have to check this.
So now Zack is sold on it.
Yeah, vampires.
Well, now you have to get a physical copy to add to your collection.
Right.
Coming out with a physical copy though? That's the thing.
Nobody's saying I gotta add it to the game stable here at Pixel Ranch.
Pixel Ranch. The game stable.
You like that?
I do love it.
I think Pixel Ranch is great. Oh, yeah, name for my collection.
I love it.
Vampire Therapist just got a lot more interesting. But what are the two games? Oh, I'm somewhat interested in Flintlock, but I really think Dungeons of Hinterberg looks like something special coming out on Game Pass.
Flintlock will also be on Game Pass.
I do know that, but they're both coming out on the same day.
The same day.
I would definitely go with Dungeons of Hinterberg. It just looks a little something about combining a heavy action game with just chilling in town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about that. Sounds great. But yeah, absolutely, it's all about Gestalt Steam and Cinder. That's where I'm at on this one. I've been looking forward to this game for maybe a long time now.
And now you can play it. Doesn't it feel great to not be like...
I played it on the Steam Deck. Yeah, I played the demo on Steam Deck. It was great. It was so good that it was 20 minutes into it. I was like, I gotta stop playing because I just want to keep it. I want it to be fresh when I get to it. So I think you got a lot to look forward to, Alyssa. Maybe if it calls your name too, we could all be playing that one.
I was intrigued by the trailer. I don't usually play that kind of game, but you guys let me know how it is, and then I might bite the bullet.
With its kind of the focus on action, but also seems like it has a huge narrative focus. It was giving me a little bit of Iconoclast energy.
Oh,
I haven't played that one yet either. I know that's a cardinal sin.
Oh my god, I love the hell out of that game. That game.
I know
incredible.
how much. Yeah, I know. I know you love it so much, though.
I think
you even got me to play that game, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's just you just got to play it, and you'll love it. That's how.
I don't think I've ever been more attached to characters made out of pixels.
Yeah, they do a great job, right?
I need to pick that game up. I wonder if it's on. It's probably on Steam. I wonder if you can play it on Steam Deck.
I'm confident
you couldn't. Yeah,
I would be surprised if you couldn't. But
maybe it's on sale.
Was it Commander Black, the kind of villain character for most of the game? Incredible character.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I know it was on sale during the Steam Fest because the developer actually like tweeted it out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Joaquin Sandberg.
Yes. Yeah. Alyssa,
Yes.
I would like to hear about some DLC that you've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
A while back, you reviewed A Little to the Left, which is a cozy game.
Slide to the left.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I told you, I actually played a little bit of it on Xbox Game Pass just to kind of see what it was about.
I know you mentioned at one point you wanted to play it, and you asked my permission, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
I asked for your permission?
Yeah, you're like, is it okay if I play A Little to the Left, Alyssa? It's on Xbox, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
I don't remember why I would have asked.
I was like, why are you asking my permission?
I don't know. He's just being a funny boy.
I don't know. I don't remember that conversation at all. But
It's been a while, but yeah.
So, I mean, this is just a game about, at least at the beginning, it was very simple puzzles of putting things in order.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be size order or on top of each other or whatever. It's just they call it a little to the left because, when you're straightening up a picture frame or whatever, it's got to go a little to the left or a little whatever. But you played the DLC, and I read your review, and it sounded like you like it, but you had some frustrations with it as well.
That's very true. Which happened with the first game as well, but or the base game, not the first game. But the puzzles are decidedly more difficult in the DLC, which they are more rewarding once you figure them out. But it's just some of the solutions seem they just don't seem logical. They've also implemented on some of the objects in the puzzles interactive, like buttons that will make the item bigger or smaller, or you might have to like press on a soap dispenser to make the handle go up or down or something. You think you have the puzzle solved, but it's not progressing, and then you realize, oh, I gotta move this soap dispenser handle up. And it's like, why? I don't know.
Because when you start a new soap dispenser, it's got to be pushed.
But you're putting it in a drawer, though, so...
Oh, you wouldn't want it.
You're not using it.
Then.
Yeah. So I wasn't thinking, hey, let's, open this up. So that was where a lot of my frustrations were those elements where you had to, and I can't speak, where you had to interact with objects and you didn't realize it. There was also one where there was a toy robot, and I didn't realize you could open the toy robot and you had to put heart stickers inside of it. So I'm just like, I was sitting there just like, well, how am I supposed to do these heart stickers? I had everything else organized.
This is really got to combine the rubber chicken with the pulley energy.
Yeah.
Hey, that makes perfect sense.
So, yeah, there are some puzzles that are, you just can't figure it out. And I did have to utilize the hint feature, which the hint feature just tells you flat out what the solution is. And I'm like, what? How was I supposed to figure that out myself? But it's still like
to put stickers on the inside of a robot.
Yeah, I didn't think that either. But I'm like, well, these stickers have to go somewhere. I was trying to put them in different drawers, and it wasn't doing anything. So I
feel like if you like with a game like that, you're just gonna just try everything until something happens, and you just land on the one that they decided was the correct answer.
Well, I think they want you to do that because most of the puzzles have at least 2 solutions, if not up to 5.
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there are multiple ways to solve most of the puzzles. There are a couple that only have one certain solution, but most of them have at least 2, some up to 5, which, is a cool aspect, so you can solve it, and then there's multiple other ways you can solve that puzzle as well. There's a nice variety of puzzles. There are the organizational puzzles where you're organizing drawers or shelves, and then there's other ones where you're maybe stacking food on top of each other in a certain order. There are more cats in the game now. There was only 1 cat in the base game.
Oh.
There are 4 or 5. I tried to count, but they were moving so fast across the screen. There's either 4 or 5 cats.
So the game goes up like 1 whole point, right, for that?
Yeah.
The additional cats?
Gain a point in my heart for adding more cats.
Understood.
I tried to pet them through my Steam Deck's touchscreen. I don't think you can actually pet the cats, but, it made me feel better.
You tried to pet the cat by stroking it on the screen?
Yeah. Well, when I played it originally on PC, I tried to, pet the cat with the mouse, and I don't think it worked then either, but I'm like, I want to pet the cats. But, I mean, that's beside the point. Even though that is one of their selling points in the description of the game on Steam, by the way. More extra cats, more cats. you get 33 more levels to this game, and then there are 5 that are locked, which I have to admit I have not played the locked levels because you have to have solved 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 different solutions to unlock each certain puzzle. So
okay, it's like
you have to go back to puzzles and solve them in different ways to play
Dark
those 5.
Moons and Mario Odyssey or something.
Yeah, right.
I don't know about that reference, but I'll trust you guys on that.
Right.
That's right. You've never played a Mario game. What?
Yeah,
I'm still just kind of. Well,
actually, I have played some of one, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Basically, right. If you liked A Little to the Left space game, you'll like the DLC. Just be prepared for the puzzles to be more difficult. But there are also more solutions and different ways to solve the puzzle, so you might figure something out. And also, I'm not the best at puzzle solving. You're probably smarter than I am if you play puzzle games. So you might have an easier time than I did. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It's still a great game, just to pick up and play a few levels, and then you could put it down, come back to it. It's very chill. The score is very soothing and relaxing. It doesn't rush you to try to solve it or anything, or finish the game. It's very much do it at your own pace, solve it the way you think is the best way to solve it, unless it doesn't let you progress because of some small thing that you would not think of. It's just a good, game to just chill with. And again, it took me 4 hours to complete what they call the campaign, which is the 33 levels. And again, I've not played the locked levels because I did not go back and re-solve the puzzles multiple times to unlock more stars. I guess that's where they get the name Seeing Stars from, because you have multiple solutions and that gives you stars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bummed that the DLC is not called No to the Right.
No to the Right.
That would be perfect, right?
I thought it would be
yeah.
really clever, but I guess
2 steps this time.
Slide to the left.
That would be, a little to the left, 2 steps this time.
Yeah, I mean, I recommend if you like the base game, you'll like it.
Very good. That is a little to the left. DLC is called Seeing Stars.
And Zack, you've been playing MiHoYo's latest game on PS5, which is Zenless Zone Zero. Gotta love the alliteration there.
That's right. I put on my vest, got on my fedora. I was weebing it up in here. Good.
So, is this like Genshin Impact where it's free to play? I know it's not the same type of game or anything, but I'm assuming it's a free to play game.
Yes, this is like you said, it's from MiHoYo. It's the kings of the gacha.
Yeah.
It is much like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail before it. This is a free to play game. Whereas Genshin Impact was an open world, sort of Breath of the Wild thing, and then Honkai was a turn-based game. Zenless Zone Zero is closest to a character action game, like a Devil May Cry or Bayonetta sort of deal.
Okay, yeah.
Which is pretty unusual for a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the core gameplay is you bring 3 agents into these things called hollows, which are just, an excuse for something to explore. And you bring in a team of 3, and the game actually does a commendable job of making you switch between characters.
Okay.
Because it would be so easy, I think, to pick the character you like to fight with and stick with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you could do that here, but there's a lot of benefits to, like, say you pull off a special attack when a character, because you can stagger enemies, right? And if you do a special attack during the stagger, you can tap one of the shoulder buttons to bring in a teammate, and then they get to do their special, but it doesn't actually cost anything off their special bar. So it benefits you to bring them into the fight right away. Or what I think is really cool, how the parry system works in this game is if you see the character charging up, one of their attacks that can be parried, because it does a little star on the screen to show you that can be parried. The parry is you flinging your fellow combatant into the fray, basically.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
So you're parrying them with a fighter, and it's pretty cool. And and the characters the combat is pretty simplistic. You're just pressing square. There aren't combo chains you can string. It's just one button for your attack, one button for your special, then another button for your ultimate. And then I presume they need to keep it simple because it's also a mobile game, right? So you can't get too mechanically dense. So I understand that. But I think the character switching brings in a lot of fun that would otherwise be a very simple game, because the enemies don't really do a very good job of attacking you outside of bosses, like just the mob enemies you're cleaning up along the way. They usually just kind of stand there while you attack them. And again, I assume they're keeping it simplistic because you need to be able to play this in line at the post office. Not that anybody has gone to the post office in 10 years, but you know what I mean?
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, yeah. I went there for my passport, I guess. And yeah, so that's kind of the crux of the game. And outside of the agents in the so-called hollows, you play as a character in the real world, one of two siblings, a brother or a sister, and with them you get to just kind of explore town and run your videotape rental business.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I guess I should say the setting for this one is like urban punk fantasy. If I would say, you know what it most Splatoon reminds me of it the most.
Okay.
If you could think of that kind of hip hop, urban style, that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, I guess I could see that after watching the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was reminded of. That sort of energy, especially with the way the town works, where you just kind of go to the shop to get yourself new stuff.
Well, the trailer I saw didn't have any gameplay. It was just
the one I saw didn't either. It was just the characters and.
Well, let's be real. That's what they're selling the game off of, right?
Yeah.
You want to get your gotcha pulls and, oh man, I want the sexy maid lady. You know, that's how these games operate. And then instead you get some guy. You're like, nobody wants husbandos in this game. Yeah, but I think the character designs are mostly interesting. You know, they are very, very anime. All the tropes are here. The maids.
Yep.
The guy who's slinging a coat off his shoulder. You know, all the anime staples. And which, you know, that's all fine. What I thought was kind of cool is like they're all members of different gangs, and I appreciated that through the character designs. You could tell just kind of by looking at them which gang they belong to.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was cool. I don't know. I just thought it was a nice little
sharks
touch.
and jet.
Sure, there are some shark people. There's a whale lady.
Whale lady.
Yeah, she's got a whale tail. Oh, that's kind of It's not in that way. She has an actual tail of a whale. Oh boy, looks like I'm in trouble now. But all the combat was kind of interesting. You know, a little mindless. Which is probably, you know, you're probably here for the kind of mindless action, I would assume, right? Because I played like 20 minutes of Genshin. I don't remember it being very dense, but I'm sure it gets tougher as you go in or something. But yeah, it was kind of interesting, and the way you explore areas is it's like a grid of TV screens, but you can kind of think of them as like a tile of a board game, and you're moving between them. And as you land on different ones, it might be like money or it might be a combat encounter, and you're kind of having a map around. And sometimes you have to solve puzzles and move like blocks around on the screens. That's kind of an interesting, you know, different way to explore, because when you're actually playing as the agents that you've unlocked, it's all about action, action, action. But then, you know, it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of okay. It was a little frustrating because I played it for about 2 hours, and I would say maybe hour 15, hour and a half of it was cutscenes.
Oh,
seriously?
Wow.
Which is insane for a free-to-play game, right?
Is it a Kojima game or?
Yeah, it was just like a bunch of characters talking, and I was even trying to skip dialogue to cruise through things a little quicker. And it just, boy, oh boy. Just a whole lot of yapping.
So that doesn't seem like a good way to get microtransactions out of somebody by having to just watch.
Well, I guess it gets you attached to the characters, right? And you're like, well, okay, I will pay money to get more pulls.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm being stereotypical probably, but I think that most people are going to play a free-to-play game aren't there for cutscenes.
I think the Genshin impact is.
Okay.
I think they get very attached to the characters.
Oh yeah, I've seen people be very, very attached to those characters.
All right.
Well, that's my read of it. But then, you know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, I could kind of see myself maybe playing through this, you know, trying to care about the story. Oh, I like some of the cutscenes are done in like a comic book style, but it's actually like, it wasn't just character models standing still like a lot of sort of JRPG games do. Yeah. It was like actual hand drawn, like 2D drawings.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was refreshing. But then, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe I could like see myself playing with this, but then you get to the 15 different currencies. You get to
15?
I don't know if that might be an exaggeration. I'm just saying, like all mobile games, there's too many currency styles. You got to upgrade each weapon slot. You got to make sure you're upgrading your characters. You got to, whatever, you got to upgrade your backpacks or whatever the hell your characters are wearing. It's just overwhelming. There's all these, you got the constant check marks of things to check in with every single day. Go here, do this, do that, claim these items, make sure you're claiming that item. Oh, don't forget, for the next 2 hours, you get an extra pull if you go right now. And it's just so overwhelming that I was just like, this game's going to appeal to people. It's not going to appeal to me. I'm out. Too much. I can't do with the constant. I think it does a pretty good job of not asking for your money, at least in the early game, compared to other games. But it is just, it's constantly in my face about needing to do some checkmark thing over here, or, pick up your currency there, or, make sure you get your W fragments that can come in D, C, B, A, or S ranks, and they level up in different ways. And I don't know, man. It was just too much for me. There's a type of gamer out there that loves that stuff. I understand that. I am not that gamer.
I'm not either.
It doesn't really sound like something for me either.
Hey, it's not like you're out any money. You get to download and try it for free, right?
Absolutely, yeah, free to play. But I was gonna say the big plus is I do think the core gameplay is fun enough to invest in if you're into these kind of games. If you need to collect your waifus, I think it holds a lot of appeal. It's just I'm not that person, but I thought it looked cool enough to check out.
Yeah.
Very cool. That is Zenless Zone Zero, which is a little hard to say. Zenless Zone Zero.
Going for the triple alliteration.
Yeah. ZZZ top. No.
How big could the beards be?
Yeah, right. All right, well, moving on very quickly before we get to our topic. We got a couple new members at our Facebook group to say hello to. Stuart Bannerman joined the group, and also Colin Cusick. I believe that is a relative of our own Chad Cusick, because his profile picture looks a lot like our own Chad. I feel like it's got to be a family member. Also, if you have not checked it out already, I mentioned it already, but our Discord server, we got a really great community over there, and we do a giveaway once a quarter for those that have interacted the most. I actually gave away 2 certificates or whatever to Nintendo for $20 a piece this week. We just did a random drawing for the top 10 people in there. So I encourage you to join in the conversations and have some fun. It's really great people over there. Also, do us a review. Do us a favor and drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us get the word out there, or Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. It does do us some good, and we will read it on the show, as long as you're not a total jerk to us. But and lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our written reviews, including Alyssa's review of A Little to the Left, Seeing Stars, and Zack's review of Cowboy 3030. You can find those, as well as all of our written content and all of our episodes from the past. We would love it if you checked it out. You can also pre-purchase your ticket for R2V2 right on the site, and you don't have to use PayPal this time. So it's a lot nicer.
Oh, do you have to? You had to last year, huh?
It was cash or PayPal. We did not have a way to use a credit card, but we now have a way to use a credit card. We are going through Eventbrite, so we have upgraded.
Wow, they're like a real deal this year, huh?
Yeah. Trying, man. I'm trying.
I guess we did start a whole weekly holiday in Rockford after all, so I guess
we did, man.
We are kind of a big deal when you think about it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week, our From the Outside In topic, Zack and I decided we wanted to talk about the settings that we set up whenever we start a brand new game. You know the ones I'm talking about. You're asked to go through the screen after screen of screen resolution, screen size, aspect ratios, sensitivity settings. The list goes on and on. We thought it would be fun to compare what we all do whenever we fire up a new game. Now, not every game does this, but it's almost getting annoying. I just want to play the game. And sometimes I feel like these things just, I don't really know how much they matter to me personally. But a lot of people just go with whatever the default is on a game. Anybody gonna fess up and say that here? That just get me into the game? Anybody do that?
No, I think the only thing, like HDR, I don't mess with that at all. Because it's like 3 different sliders. Yeah. And it's like, this is what it should look like if it's bright outside. This is what it should look like if it's dark outside. I'm like, I don't know how the hell people set this up. But so that
I'm glad it's not just me. Because I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I skip the hell out of that screen. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I guess I do. I always try to leave the controls default, but I think most people do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Think so?
It depends on the game. There's some where like they'll stupidly put the dodge button not on the B button or not on the right face button.
That bugs you?
That bugs me. Like that's where dodge should be. I'm sorry.
I feel like I would not want dodge there ever.
Really?
Dodge on circle?
Where do you want dodge?
I guess dodge is acceptable on circle. I apologize. That's a perfectly fine dodge button. That is, I appreciate what you're saying.
That's what God of War taught me to dodge.
Well, I was gonna say I think that's how all the Souls games are. But I was thinking like Nier has a dodge button on R2, and I love that. That's great. But that's useful, or like in that kind of game, or like a Bayonetta or Devil May Cry. I like that because that's like the go button in video games.
Okay.
Or the go or fire.
Accelerate, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like that's really the most important button in those kind of games. So I kind of like it there for those. But
what about you, Alyssa?
I do tinker a lot with the settings, but I don't really change the if it's performance or quality. I leave it on whatever is set there because I usually can't tell the difference.
Does it default to one or the other when it does performance or quality? It's not like in the middle and then you go left or right? You have to...
Well, usually when I go in the settings, it'll be on one or the other, and then you can click an arrow to switch it.
Gotcha. Okay.
I usually just leave it.
I got to tell you guys, maybe I'm alone here, but as much as I like having the options, I feel overwhelmed when I come into a game and it gives me like more than a full page of options to choose from. I'm not going to sit there and go through each one of those and tweak.
Yeah.
Like that's why I wasn't a PC player when I was younger.
Right. I was going to say it because that's a scary thing playing games on the Steam Deck now.
They're very overwhelming on PC for me.
Yeah. God, I don't even understand what most of the terms mean.
I don't either. I'm just like, I'm PC illiterate. I don't know.
Anti-aliasing. I know all my PC players are like, you idiot. I don't know what that means.
But I don't either.
I think it reduces jaggies on objects.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. But sometimes they have like 6 different options of like FSR or ASR or whatever. Like I'm like, I don't know what these all mean, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why don't you make the game in such a way that you use the best option automatically?
Or why don't you like give me a picture-in-picture side-by-side comparison of like this is what it would look like with this setting, this is what it would look like in that setting, and you pick the one that works best for you.
Yeah.
Why do you have to like go into the game and then see no, that's not right, and then go back and make another change? Wouldn't that make sense?
Right.
Like especially like for I assume you're going to colorblind mode stuff often. Mm-hmm. So like wouldn't it make sense to have something that show like you can see it there and say or they give you that like circle test with the numbers and the dots?
Yeah, there was one game that did that. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Titanfall or a Battlefield game maybe where they actually had the dot test in the game.
Wouldn't that like make sense for colorblind accessibility options? Just be like, which one can you see? That one? Okay, we're going to just automatically give you these settings.
Right. Wouldn't that be nice? But the colorblind thing is tricky because usually it's a filter over the whole screen, which is actually not helpful at all.
Oh.
At least not for me. All I want you to change is the UI colors.
Oh, I see. So, okay.
Because I want to say maybe it was like the old Call of Duties where it was red and green were the team colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they all just looked like the same team to me.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to all those teammates I no doubt shot over the years. I try my best.
I just don't know, how do you fix that back in the day? Like put a flag on the ones that are enemies or something?
Yeah, well, at least Modern Warfare, I want to say it was just like attrition of learning, of trying to suss out those subtle shade differences that exist between red and green for me.
Yeah, but I mean, if they do, you say they put a filter on the entire screen. You don't like that. You just want them to swap the colors for different colors.
Yeah, basically let me customize the color of the UI. That's really all I want. Because if you're colorblind, you're used to seeing the world in the colorblind way. So if you do a filter that all of a sudden makes all the trees like a bright neon blue or something, Like, that's incredibly distracting to me.
Right. Don't change everything. Just change the ones that I need changed.
Yeah, but so like a lot of colorblind options are sort of lazy in that way, where they're just like applying something over the screen, whatever they do, but it affects all the colors of the foliage and everything. But my brain has learned to figure out how to live with, foliage looking a similar color or whatever.
Correct.
So if you all of a sudden the leaves are neon yellow, like that's annoying as hell. Yeah. It's very fall. And and all of a sudden Kratos is on an alien planet.
You're like on No Man's Sky world or something.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's actually kind of insulting, honestly. I'd rather let me just
Yeah.
It's that they don't if they're putting a filter on the whole thing, I feel like they're not consulting people that actually have color blindness.
Right, I assume that there's nobody on the team that's colorblind.
I mean, are there different, like, this is me coming from complete ignorance because I don't know. Like, are there different, like, codes for what type of color blindness you have?
Yeah, well, there's 3 primary ones, like deuteranopia, tritanopia, and polyanopia, maybe?
Okay.
Like 2 colors, 3 colors, or many. I'm deuteranopia, which I think I only learned originally from whatever that game was with the colorblind test.
Oh.
Which is where I learned it originally. And then, of course, I did more research of my own. I was like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. Word. Red, green. But
I love that word.
Yeah.
Christmas time must be just completely frustrating for you.
You learn to adjust. You learn to pick it up. But yeah, it's not ideal. But a lot of games have those 3 options for sure.
Okay. That's interesting. I wish that they could give me a pair of glasses or something that could show me what you see.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because I just want to know what that's like, and then see what you're seeing when they're putting a filter on it. I know there are some puzzle games and stuff where they will instead of changing the colors, they'll just actually put shapes.
Yes,
on
I
the
love
pieces.
that. That's great.
Yeah, like that just makes more sense than putting a filter on the entire game. Don't ruin everything else.
Yeah.
Does it have like that Vaseline look to it?
I don't
have that filter.
Well, and they usually come with some kind of like intensity of the filter, but the problem is that it's changing the color of the world at all.
Right.
I don't think it looks very Vaseline-y, so that's good. That would be good. Terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the different shapes thing.
So tell me what your settings look like, guys, when you boot up a brand new game. Obviously, you don't have to do this every time you fire up the game because you just get the settings locked in. But how much tweaking do you actually do? Alyssa, I'm going to start with you.
I do a decent bit. I go in, I make sure the subtitles are turned on because for some reason I have to have subtitles on when I play video games. Don't know why. I guess because it tells you who's talking, the characters' names and all that, usually. So subtitles have to be on. And
I can't remember. It might have been Capcom, or some other company. Some publisher put out like a result of they tested by keeping their subtitles on by default in video games. Mm-hmm. It was something like 90% of users wouldn't turn them on if they're on by default.
If people don't like to read,
which is interesting. But if they had an off by default, it was only like 60% or something would actually go to bother to turn them on. But so it's fascinating that if they're there, people are probably just like, oh, these are helpful. Just a fascinating piece of information. I'm just saying you're not alone. Subtitles.
Okay.
Gamers seem to prefer subtitles for whatever reason.
I tend to keep them on too, just because I'm worried I'm good. I like to see how a character's name is spelled.
Yeah, that's what I like as well.
I don't know why that is.
If you're playing something like, I just blanked, but if you're playing an RPG and someone's got a weird name,
yeah,
I want to know how it's spelled.
Like I've been watching, House of Dragon. I always watch that show with subtitles because sometimes they speak in Old English kind of things.
But also there's names like Jacaerys, Lucerys.
They're so similar in House of Dragon.
That's George Martin for you.
Aegon, Aemond. And
there's some of them are the same names of characters from the original series too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
like you couldn't come up with more names, dude.
So does seeing them spelled out, does that help you understand how to say the name or remember it? Kind of.
I think it's more of a remember kind of thing because once I see the name visually, I'm correlating what that, it sounds weird to say this, but I correlate what that character's name looks like with what their character looks like.
Oh, okay.
Like, I know helps in the review process for me personally.
Yeah, but Rhaenyra, once I see her name actually spelled out, because, like you said, they're so similar to some of their names.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it would have taken me a lot longer for me to latch on to Rhaenyra being Rhaenyra, especially because they switched the actor halfway through the, or 3/4 of the way through that first season.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't say that. They didn't even say like 30 years later or whatever. I'm exaggerating.
Right.
But, you just had to kind of just figure out that, oh yeah.
That's the number one way you can tell that George R.R. Martin was involved in Elden Ring. Characters like America, Melika, Mikola, Melania. Like,
There's
Jesus.
variations of like this one name he liked.
That's what he always does, yeah. This is how he rolls.
Or have names that are like very similar to popular Western names, like Ned.
Oh yeah, but he spells it funny. It's like Nedd.
Or no, his name is Eddard.
No, yes, you're right. Yeah,
but they call him Ned.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's usually how they do it, or like I guess Jon Snow is just Jon, right?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. But then you have names like Dickon. Like
a sophisticated naming process, really? I'm sure was involved in that one.
And Rickon was in there.
Yeah.
It was Dickon, Rickon.
Yeah,
they were brothers, I think.
Wow,
it's just bizarre. Well, anyway, so any others?
Well, since I'm prone to motion sickness, I usually go into games and look. Some games are very nice, and they'll just have a box that you click that basically says motion sickness reduction, and the game does all that for you. But a lot of the times I'll have to go in and adjust motion blur, head bob, head shake, camera sensitivity, field of view. I have to adjust all that, especially if it's a first-person game, because I don't want to be feeling sick while I'm playing a game.
Yeah, you could never play Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm sorry to say.
Oh no!
So much head bobbing, especially when you're riding a horse.
Well, I mean, if you can turn it off, then that's a great thing. But some games don't let you.
Yeah, I don't know if it does or not. I didn't check.
Well, if it lets you, then that solves the issue for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, even some third-person games, I have to do that because sometimes they'll get me too. I'm like, why are you doing this to me? So I have to go in and manage it, unless they're nice enough to have the option where it does it. It's the game itself does it when you just tick the box. I'm like, I always appreciate when games have that where it just automatically adjusts everything for you, because usually it's a process when you're going through, because you don't know exactly where you need to adjust the sliders for all those different settings until you play the game, and then you're like, oh, I'm still feeling queasy, gotta go and lower it some more.
Which again, like do it on the screen.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. It would be. Or have every game adjust their settings to the setting where people will most likely not be experiencing motion sickness while playing.
Oh, yeah. Make that the first option.
Well, just like the all-in-one package option. Because some games do that, and I love when they do that. But yeah, those are mostly what I go in and fiddle with, are the motion sickness settings and the subtitles, if they're not already automatically turned on.
All right. Zack, what about you?
Well, similar to you, Scott, I find it often overwhelming how many settings there are to adjust. I do think you raise an interesting point, Alyssa, with like all the adjustments you make. Like, yeah, they should like when you go to that menu, you should like overlay it onto the image of the game you're paused on, and that way you can see it change in real time. That would make a lot of sense.
I had that problem with Still Wakes the Deep, by the way. I had to keep going back into the settings menu and adjusting because it was making me feel queasy at first.
Understood.
So I had to change, I think, 5 different times before I finally got to where it was playable for me.
Oh.
So it was a little bit frustrating, I will admit, with that game, trying to figure out the settings I needed for reducing my motion sickness.
And I'm happy they have all these settings. I do wish it can definitely be frustrating when they ask them all of you up front, because you're just like, well, I just kind of want to play the game, and also I don't know yet if I need this to change or what adjustments it will make. You know, the image, your example images don't always work.
Yeah, right.
They're not very thorough or whatever. Similar to a lot of comments we're going to read through. Whenever there's whatever the default brightness is. You know, it's like make sure the logo is barely visible. You get to that, and then you like tick it up 2 more times.
I do that too, yeah.
That's exactly what I do.
I always do 2 or 3 extra up.
Because you want to make sure you're not missing anything, right?
Yeah, because sometimes games are very dark.
And I don't know what barely visible means, because I feel like that's subjective.
Yeah,
like barely visible means like to me barely visible is
or it's like barely bright on the screen. Like,
well, what I do is I go until it's gone for me. Like it's completely gone, and then one click over. To me, that is barely visible.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I do.
Right, and then I click up twice from there.
2 more times. Yeah. Yeah, and it can be such a game changer. Like I've been playing through Blood West on Steam Deck, and it's entirely at night. It's such a dark game,
right?
But then I finally was like, maybe I should just up the brightness, and I did it by like 2 or 3 ticks. And I was like, oh, this game is infinitely more playable now.
Mm-hmm.
I can see objects better. It was just like it does make a difference. But listening to the barely visible, not always recommended, even in a horror game.
Yeah,
you want to be able to play. The HDR settings, always just leave them wherever they are. I just feel like I'm going to mess it up. The only game I remember trying to adjust was Final Fantasy 15, and I was like, I think I made this game look worse. I have no idea what the hell is going on. So ever since then, I'm like, whatever the default is, I trust you guys to do what's necessary.
Well, I feel like some of the games have like where or your TV automatically senses that you're playing a video game, and it will like do.
Yeah, my TV does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some rich people TVs over here.
Well, no, remember I bought that TV about 5 years ago, and it was state of the art at the time, and now it's TVs are outdated, just like cars as soon as you take them out of the parking lot.
Right.
But I remember like the best thing I could get looking on my TV was YouTube. Watching a YouTube video, I'm like, this is amazing. And I've never gone back and like had that wow moment with anything. Movie. Like I feel like I'm past the whole like TV has to look like 8K or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very, very much over that whole thing.
It's like, just let me play this video game.
Yeah. Like I just want to play the game.
Yeah, I guess Nintendo's so good about that.
I'm surprised nobody's mentioned yet one of the first things that I changed.
I didn't get done talking about what I tweak, okay, if that's all right. I mean, I don't want to command the conversation if you have something to say. I'm just saying.
No, go for it.
I haven't gotten through them all. Okay. Invert Y-axis immediately.
That was mine.
Yeah, top. That's the number one thing. I always check the colorblind options to see if it's actually useful, but 9 times out of 10, it's just that filter. I just leave it off because it's going to be easier for me. It's going to be less frustrating in the long run. A game like Dredge, because Dredge has keywords during dialogue that are different colors. You can customize what color you want them to be.
Wow, that's very specific. That's handy.
That was incredible. I loved it. I was like,
so not red or green.
No, it's like 12 different colors you can pick, and you can make each one whatever you want. And like that's the ideal thing for me. If you just let me like pick what the enemy color team is for myself, or the friendlies, that's incredible because that's all I need. I just need the UI to be adjusted, as such as it is. But the weirdest thing I think I do is I go into the audio settings. I turn subtitles off. I'm a subtitles off kind of guy. Give me that cinematic experience, unless because Nier originally didn't let you turn off subtitles. So any Yoko Taro game, I'll leave the subtitles on because that's how I'm used to it.
Oh,
so that's a specific one. Or from soft games, always leave the subtitles on because cutscenes are 10 seconds long, so it doesn't really matter. But I like the kind of cinematic feeling. I like getting kind of caught up in the filmic aspect of cutscenes. But while I'm there in the audio settings, I always turn sound effects down to 7, and turn music down to 8, and I leave dialogue cranked to the max.
That's what I do as well.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought I was definitely going to be.
I forgot to mention the audio thing, but yeah, I do that as well because I cannot stand having the sound effects and music be the same volume as the voice and master and all that. So
yeah, no, I need the dialogue because I feel like there's just so often where like grenades are going off in the background, or you're chainsawing a locust in half, and I'm like, I got no idea what Dom just said. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, you can't hear them talking because of the sound effects.
And even if subtitles were on, yes, I would know what he would say, but I would have missed the voice actor's delivery, the tone that Dom's saying it in, all because I had to chainsaw that guy. And believe me, I have to chainsaw that guy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to not chainsaw anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I ever touched those settings.
Yeah, you just leave them as is.
Unless it's a game that like is egregious about how loud something is, like the mix is just wrong on the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'll go in and like I need to do this, but I don't go like do that before I start playing.
I feel like I remember Quantum Break having really bad audio mixing, like the sound effects were out of control.
Maybe because they're also going back and forth between the game and a TV show too. So
yeah, that's what I feel like. I remember that being tricky, but that was also like 10 years ago at this point, maybe.
Yeah, so I can't remember. I can't remember what settings I was using on Quantum Break.
Yeah, I just remember Sean Ashmore just darting around time. That's really all I remember.
This character was cool in that game too.
No, of course, yes. As was Aidan Gillen's, and Lance Reddick was in that game.
Yeah,
he was cool.
I feel like people hate on that game, and I liked it.
I think it's
I liked it a lot. It's definitely the black sheep of Remedy's catalog, right?
Yeah, but it was. I kind of wanted more of that format, with you get like a little episode of something in between where you're seeing the actual characters, but in full motion video. Like, yeah, that was cool.
The only downside about the TV show was that it was about the villain, so you didn't get a lot of Sean Ashmore in the TV episodes.
Yeah,
just a letdown. What about you, Scott? How do you start up your video games?
I'm very simplistic, man. There's very little I do. I invert the axis, the y-axis for sure. I'm not saying that to start a debate. We started a mini debate on Discord about that.
Y-axis. It's the only way to play.
You want to play it as a turret game? That's fine. I'm going to play it like an airplane game. That's just just what's always worked for me. And I think that stems from me playing a lot of flight games, like the Ace Combat games. Air Combat? Was it Air Combat originally? Air Combat 1, 2, and 3, and then Ace Combat 4?
I don't know. There's a lot of flight games, man. I don't know the history.
I love flight games.
For me, I was just playing Halo, and that was kind of the first major console shooter with 2 sticks that I played.
Yeah.
And I kept wanting to look up, but I kept looking at the ground. So I was like, okay, clearly I'm doing this wrong. It was just the way that felt natural to me.
And there's probably a setting that you can, I think there is, I just have never figured out how to do it, where you can go into your Xbox and just go put me at invert all the time, so you don't have to change that every time.
I have it checked on both Xbox and PlayStation, but whether or not it gets used is very hit or miss.
Yeah, it's mostly miss for me. I don't think I've ever.
It's mostly miss.
I can't tell you the time I fired up a game and it just was automatically. You know what I want, and I think this would be really cool. Remember, like games like I think the original Halo did this, where they say, "Okay, look up."
Oh yeah,
and then you just look up, and then okay, look down, and then the game says, "Okay, we're going to invert you." You know what I mean? It lets you choose. But I want a game to do that with everything in the training, whatever training thing at the beginning when they're teaching you how to play the game.
Oh, it's like jump and it's whatever button feels natural.
Yeah, or that's a good idea too. Just even like the button mapping, like go ahead and fire.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And then, but then even like, I don't know, somehow in the game they're giving you an eye test and say which looks better, 1 or 2.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, and like give you the option if you just want to skip it. That way, it's not frustrating.
Or say, hey, you can do this manually if you want to, or make it not force you to do it. But I would much rather do that. Have all those options done in game.
Right, that way you're playing it the way you want. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because for all I know, I am underutilizing my TV.
Yeah,
like I said, I've never made anything look as good as that freaking nature show on birds.
YouTube, man, YouTube's where it's at.
The one that sold me on it in the store when I bought it. Mm-hmm. And I've never watched another nature thing since that first day. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense.
You know what? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut in, but there is one thing. Any Souls-like, if attack is not on R1, I change it to R1.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how it's been since Demon's Souls. So like the Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order games, attack by default is on square. No. That's got to be on R1. That's where it belongs in this genre. So that's the other thing.
I mean, I have not played those games, so I can't. I mean, my recollection is like that's what we do in Assassin's Creed now.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, because they borrowed that from FromSoft.
Yeah,
the lock-on shoulder button combat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much inspired by that. Only it's boring as hell in Assassin's Creed.
And this doesn't make any sense. But
I always loved the control scheme of the old Assassin's Creed where the right trigger changed what your buttons did.
I don't know
what I mean? Like it had the hyper, like so, like if you were walking right and you press the A button, it was like Altair or whoever, they would like blend in with the crowd.
Uh-huh.
But if you had the trigger pressed down and you were in high profile mode, you press the A button, you would sprint.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? I love that.
Remember
I thought that. I think they called it the puppeteer system. It was great. Loved it.
Why is that not used more?
Well, I mean, it's not even used in Assassin's Creed anymore, so I guess people didn't like it as much. I thought it was good.
They're like, we got enough buttons on this thing. We don't need to like have twice.
Because it was, it was the on the face buttons. The bottom was for your feet, the top was for your head, the left was for your weapon hand, and the right was for your offhand.
I never looked at it that way.
I didn't either.
And that's how it was.
That's kind of brilliant, actually.
I thought it was very clever. I thought it was great.
Never even like put that together at all. It's kind of stupid now.
Well, you don't have to feel stupid. But
no, but that's it. Invert is the big one. I already talked about what I did for the like brightest until it's barely visible. We talked about that. HDR settings, same way. Whatever it is, because I never know which was the right way to do it. So,
and you don't adjust your audio at all.
I don't. No,
Yeah.
but I've gotten to where I'm playing more with headphones more often than not now.
Oh, okay.
Which brings up an interesting point. I do make a change in settings if I'm playing with somebody, like a multiplayer game, or if I'm playing my game. I have to change how loud the game is in my ear, because when I'm playing with somebody, I'd rather hear them than hear the game. Because if I'm playing Gears of War, I've heard that dialogue lots of times, and I can read the subtitles if I miss something. But I want to have the conversation. We're still, as we've talked in the past, we do the respectful story. Everybody's very respectful during cutscenes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Good, the old school Xbox Live rules.
And they were never we never talked about it. It was just like we just said story, and everyone was cool.
That's a good point. It was just natural decorum.
Yeah.
Back when we knew how to behave ourselves.
But man, there are so. I see just a wall of settings, and I'm like, I'm not going through all these. There's just no way.
Yeah, it is getting to be like a PC game on consoles now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
I need to hire a consultant to come in and just set it, make this look the best on my TV for me. That should just be a job that people have. I'm going to make this look the best for you that I can.
That's amazing for every game. Yeah. They should have a service. They should have a service like somebody at Microsoft that just gets into the game settings for you from afar. It's like, oh, how does that look? Oh, is it bright outside right now? Oh, let me just adjust this a little bit. Yeah.
Do you imagine?
Are you playing in a basement, sir?
I am.
Oh, it's impressive. Okay, we'll lower the brightness for you. It's gonna be great. Do you play in quality or performance mode more often?
Quality. I am more concerned with how the game looks than how it runs smooth. Because I genuinely can't tell. I can tell the difference with the graphics, but I cannot tell the difference with frame rate.
What about you, Alyssa? Oh, I'm sorry sorry, Scott, if you have more.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that in a snooty way. There's something wrong with me that I can't see the difference in frame rate. So, go ahead,
Alyssa.
I honestly don't pay attention to what mode it's on. So whatever
just
the
give
game
me the
puts
game.
it on, I'm just like, I trust you, game.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. Quality mode as it is, except for I think it was God of War 2018 ran like crap at quality mode. So that one I played with frame rate, but yeah, it's usually quality mode for me as well. I cannot. My eyes got nothing for 30 to 60 difference. I got nothing. I can't
tell either.
I've flicked it on back and forth in games and just nothing. So I guess we're either blessed or cursed in that way.
I don't know, honestly, because there are people that are like, I won't play this game if it's under 40 frames per second. There's no way I'm ever playing this game. Yeah,
which is somewhat frustrating because the data has shown that overwhelming amount of people play in quality mode. But all you ever hear about is everyone talking about frame rate, where it's just like, well, it doesn't matter to most people. Can we please just shut up about it in every game?
And can't everybody just play how they like to play? Like, why do we have to berate people for having a different choice?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do think not playing a game because it's locked to 30 that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That makes me seem like, I guess you weren't that interested in that game then, right?
It's like the video game equivalent of beer snobs. I will not drink that Miller High Life. There's no way.
I will not watch a movie that was shot on digital. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that really a thing?
You wouldn't be able to see most movies. But I'm saying that's the kind of logic at work here.
Yeah. Well, that's what we thought. Let's see what the community said. Starting over on Facebook, Andrew Jack says, I set it to the easiest difficulty. No vibration, no screen shake, no blur, no fisheye, and extra subtitles. My old eyes and hands can't take the extra stimulation. That's something we didn't talk about was difficulty. Depending on the game, we've talked about this. We had a whole episode on difficulty. I think most of us just do whatever's default, except for Zack, who has to show us all up and have it on the hardest level of difficulty possible.
It's not. Hold on. I don't always go to the extreme. I usually go to just hard.
Yeah.
But it's usually for, I don't know. I'm so finicky about whether or not I play normal or hard. It's just totally random.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm feeling, whatever vibe I'm getting from the game of do I just kind of want to experience the story or do I want to beat my head against the wall a little bit?
Yeah.
That it just changes from game to game. But
what is fisheye?
It isn't. As I've gotten older, it is more often hard than normal. I don't know why that is. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you weren't finished. I apologize.
I thought I was. I guess I had more to say. I do not know what fisheye is.
It's where like the vision like becomes like tunnel vision kind of.
So is that like a low FOV?
I've never experienced fisheye in a game. I just know it like as a film technique and a camera technique. So
I thought fisheye was like when you look through the peephole in the hotel room and it sees in like all directions. I thought that's what fisheye was.
Like a fisheye lens?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm describing it wrong. Like I have it in my head, like, but I was trying to. It's hard to describe in words.
So if that's an option to no fisheye, does it just kind of make it more flat instead of like? I'm genuinely not understanding.
Sure.
No, yeah, I really don't know.
I've never seen that option before.
I haven't either. I don't recognize
not to my
it.
knowledge.
So. Andrew, let us know what you're talking about. I'm not calling you out. I just don't. No, I don't know what that is.
Seeking to learn.
Yes, Zach, you want to take the next one?
Sure, Joel Selinsky.
Yeah,
you're trying to Ron Burgundy me again, man.
Dude, it's like I must have been drunk when I wrote this format.
Joel, he wrote your name as Joe, just so you know. He doesn't
Joe Selinsky.
He invert vertical axis, turn off motion blur and film grain, turn off the brightness if it's a horror game. Seeing in the dark is helpful. Yeah. A lot of motion blur haters.
Yeah, I was worried Joel wasn't going to be able to play Gears because
that's high motion blur, right? I remember that.
Yeah, and he changed the setting, and he doesn't have a problem with that for some reason.
Oh wait, you can turn it off in the game?
I don't. I feel like he found a setting that made it better.
Oh,
I don't know if you can like turn that off because I was like, dude, there's no way you're gonna like this. It's like his favorite game now.
Yeah,
he's actually said that the Gears series might be his favorite series after playing the first 5. So.
Which ones does he have a favorite one in the series?
That's a good question. I'll have to ask him. Joel, let us know.
Yeah,
or Joe, let us know what your favorite.
Right. Could be his his favorite Gears game might be his favorite game of all time.
Also,
fascinating to learn.
Not to call him out, but I think he's full of crap here when he says he turns up the brightness if it's a horror game. Joel doesn't play horror games.
Oh. Dang, you're calling him out, man. You can't let him. You know what? Gears is horror adjacent. There's some
horror adjacent.
There's some segments in those games that are.
That's true.
I tried to get him to play Dead Space. He played about 10 minutes. He's like, nope.
Oh wow!
Like he got to that opening section in the first like enclosed area.
Yeah.
When you're not supposed to, do anything, and he's just like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, it's so hard to remember my first time through the game because when I think of Dead Space, I really don't think of scary, but I've also played it 12 times or whatever.
Well, yeah, I'm in the same boat, especially Dead Space 2. I feel like I played that game at least 10 times.
Yeah, they're so breezy. That was back when games were 6 hours long. So,
and we didn't have 14 of them coming out every week.
Yeah, it was pretty reasonable to replay a game every now and again.
I mean, I don't know which I like better, honestly. Like having so many options, or kind of being forced to go back and replay games and enjoy them again.
Yeah, well, you always got a new appreciation for them.
Yeah. I think that should be a topic. Anyway,
yes.
Alyssa, want to read the next one?
Yep. Brandon Smith writes, I usually set the darkness levels several clicks higher than barely visible because I hate struggling to see things while I'm playing a game. I always make sure subtitles are on. You can't just rewind a video game like you can with a TV show, and I want to make sure I'm understanding all of the dialogue and character names the first time. I also often increase the dialogue volume because a lot of games tend to drown out dialogue with loud music.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
And if there is a nudity option, we're getting freaky.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3.
Hell yeah. This is what I'm talking about.
You can literally walk around that entire game naked if you wanted to.
Just hanging dong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dope. No wonder everybody loved it.
He made a good point that you can't rewind a cutscene.
That's true.
Why is that not a thing? Shouldn't that be a thing?
I don't know. I assume it was probably the way the video file is set to play in the coding or something.
I don't know. I mean, couldn't you make it where like you got a little, rewind button or something?
I guess you could hit the share button, which, it's recording the last 5 minutes of your gameplay or whatever at all times. You just go back.
Yeah, but then if you can't pause the cutscene.
Yeah. That should be universal.
Yeah,
but it's still not.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Yeah. So sometimes the wife comes down and asks a question, is not going to sit there and wait for a 3-minute, cutscene. Right. to answer her question.
Well, she should learn respect.
Hey, they'll get me in trouble. Rich Johnson says it's always a little, sometimes more bright than barely visible. I feel like we're all on the same
Let's say
page.
it's universal opinion, right?
Vampire Survivors is one I need to turn off multiple settings on the console. Not exactly brightness or size, but to stave off stuttering. For a larger screen, 55 inches or above, I typically leave a border or less than max screen, especially when I'm sitting closer. That was one I forgot to mention. Why is that a thing? I truly don't understand. Do you ever get the setting where it says, like, okay, move up and down on your thing until the corners hit the corner of your screen? Do I need it so that it's still in the screen, or do I need it so that it's just right outside the screen?
Yeah.
Which one is which? I don't want to be missing something, but I guess if you're one click off, I guess it doesn't matter. But
what do you do? I always do it to where it's just like just inside the screen.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
right, so
hopefully we're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're right.
But to me, I feel like if the border is outside and I can't see it, then so is part of the screen in my mind.
Yeah. But again, this problem was solved on like PS2. Why is this a problem now?
I don't know. Is it just because there's so many options and people have different screens and resolutions? Like there's so many different options for the monitor now than there were back in the day. Maybe, I don't know.
Do you think like the audio mixing thing is like, because do you think most game developers are working with headphones on and they just don't realize it?
Maybe.
I wonder how that works.
Too.
Yeah,
because it would have to, right?
Yeah.
But also, QA testers are still a thing.
That's true. But they're all like lined up, right? You've seen a QA testing room; they're all like sitting next to each other, so they probably need to wear headphones.
Headphones
so
as well. Yeah,
that sounds out bleeding.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so this could be an error point. It's kind of like how all these console games have that cursor menu now, and it's absolutely abysmal to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been playing that way for years with it, so they're probably not even thinking about it. But
they're making them that way.
Yeah,
so.
Just sucks. That's the worst thing Destiny ever did to the video game industry. Cursor menu.
Yeah, I don't like those menus.
I've never met a single person that's like, yes, this is much better than just using the controller.
Now, if you were using a mouse, sure, of course, that makes sense.
Yes, but I'm not on my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
you're up, man.
That's a whole different soapbox. Sean Coates says, I always adjust the brightness slider well above the recommended setting. Well, above is a little extreme, right? Trying to bleed it out. I learned my lesson as a kid when playing Alien Resurrection on PS1. It's the first game I ever encountered with a brightness slider, and it scared the crap out of me. Other than that, I usually keep most other settings at default. But as a side effect, I now apply subtitles to any movie or TV show that I stream, even though I'm not hard of hearing. So you're just used to seeing them. Now, Sean, when you were playing Alien Resurrection, did anybody hear you scream?
Well, he wasn't in space.
Yeah, I know. I just had to get that thing. I remember. I think there's a cool magazine ad for this game, where it's like, shouldn't be afraid of the dark. You should be afraid of what's in the dark.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I miss magazine ads.
I do.
They had to be clever, or else they weren't going to get your attention.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they were great.
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Stuart Bader. Nah. Why can I not speak this episode?
Brand new to the community. Let's get his name right.
I'm so sorry.
Well, Scott can't write. You can't speak this week. It's not a good combo.
I'm so sorry.
When I feel like I keep pausing mid-sentence, so we're all broken in some way. Yeah.
Stuart Bannerman writes, the only settings I sometimes change are the easy, normal, hard gameplay. I usually leave it on normal, but have been known to change it to easy.
Yeah, so have I. I'm
Me
playing
too.
through Gears right now on easy just because I'm playing for the social aspect of it, not for the try to complete it. I've completed that game before, so
if I'm playing a game like that's not for review, then I don't mind knocking it down to easy, but if I'm reviewing a game, I try to keep it on normal because it's just, I don't know, my brain's like, you have to play this on normal mode.
We'll say the average experience, I understand. Yeah. But I mean, I sometimes say that feeling about review games for normal, but then I'm like, but I guess I'm giving my view on the game, right?
Yeah.
So hard should be okay because that's the way I want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or easy or normal or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think there's anything wrong with playing a review game on the setting that's comfortable for you either.
Right.
That's true. Yeah. That's just
You know what
my
I mean?
brain being weird. Like,
No, it's not being weird. I just, if you're going to struggle, but also I would like it. I mean, this is just me talking as like, a reviewer myself. But if it were like just like way too easy and not, I would then bump it up so that I'm giving myself a satisfactory challenge.
Sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because I don't want it to. Because then I don't want that to come through my review that says,
oh, it's too easy.
this game is great, except it was just way too easy. Well, you played it on the easiest setting, so
Yeah.
Moving over to Discord, Alan Sheck says inverted y-axis. Why that isn't the default for camera rotation astounds me. That is how you tilt your head in real life. It only makes sense. This is the comment that started a whole. It wasn't a heated conversation, but it definitely started a debate a little bit.
Alan's preaching to the choir on this podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, Alyssa, do you play inverted?
I do not know.
Get the hell off of this show.
Oh my goodness.
It confuses me too much. I always screw it up. Especially I can't play flying game or any kind of games with planes. Like Far Cry, I'm hopeless when it comes to flying those planes. I can't do it.
You can change because the flight automatically defaults to inverted, but you can change the settings for flight to not inverted.
Well, that's also, I do change it and I still can't fly them, but it's a lot harder with inverted.
Oh man, I love flight games so much. I'm like, it's been so long since I played Ace Combat 7. I could go back and it would still feel like a new game to me. I love those games.
Scott, you'll be pleased to know when my partner doesn't play a lot of video games, but the first one she played with real camera control was Hogwarts Legacy.
Uh-huh.
And I made sure to go into those options and tick invert Y.
Oh, you just did that? Like,
yeah.
You're not having a choice. You're just gonna.
Right. It's just you may as well learn the right way. You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
You don't want to confuse it later down the line.
All right, you're up, man.
Oh yeah, Mark Zemansky writes in, on the scary darkness games, I take the recommended adjusted brightness until you can barely see the image setting and brighten it up another few points. I love it. Everyone
this is a very
does
popular
this.
answer.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
That's great. We're all understanding of how this works.
Yeah. Alyssa?
Drew Ross writes, shooters, I always put brightness up and make my crouch button the right stick press / melee the B button. Single player games, I like quality mode over performance mode most of the time. If it lets you tinker with difficulty settings, I like the difficulty to be somewhere in the middle. Not too easy and not so difficult it makes it frustrating.
Yeah. Kind of echoing some of the same stuff here. TJ Kitsune, who, by the way, I've met him in person multiple times. He's been at R2V2. I actually had dinner with him the other night. He's going to be heading up some video game tournaments at R2V2 for us. He's got some experience doing that. He's a real cool guy, so shout out to him. But TJ says, I always throw the age slider up if that option exists. When you can make yourself look like an older character.
Yeah, you're 90 years old.
I just saw the second part of the comment and it made me laugh.
He also said, or whatever turns on jiggle physics.
Right.
Which,
well, TJ, you might want to check out Zenless Zone Zero.
Oh, I could tell just in the trailer there were some jiggle physics.
They are cranked up to Dead or Alive levels. They're messing around.
Man, Dead or Alive. Wasn't that like where it was just like extreme?
I mean, that was ridiculous. You would sidestep and somehow their boobs would jiggle all the way to their face.
Yeah.
It's not even gravitationally correct.
Personally, would hate to have my boobs hit my chin, but that's just me.
Well, that's why you're not an expert fighter in the Dead or Alive tournament.
I know.
So.
I could never make it.
Are we on Bill Gardner here? Is this me?
Yes.
I usually just play the default unless something starts bothering me or I hear a setting that sounds like a benefit for me. That's usually when I'll go into settings and look around. That's one of the main reasons PC gaming isn't my main platform besides Steam Deck. When I have time to game, I just want to jump on and for it to work. Yeah, man. That's all we want. Us lowly console gamers, we just want the games to work.
I know. And I'm a PC adjacent player now that I've got a Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, the benefit of the Steam Deck, right? Especially if it's verified, you don't have to do anything.
Right. Sometimes, if it's not verified, you got to do some tweaking. But even that is not that difficult. It's not like I'm going into all these crazy settings. You know what I mean? Right. I'm just like, I feel like everybody else that is way better at this has already done something. And then you just like, here's the recommended settings for this game. And you do it, and 9 times out of 10, it works.
Absolutely. Well, and I love that the Steam Deck, since we're, seeing its virtues, I love that for games that has like old games, like say Gun, that just has community controller configurations already preset that you can download.
Oh, so I can play Gun on Steam Deck then.
Yeah, I mean, I got it to work. I'll send you. I watched this video to set it up perfectly. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
'cause I've been itching to play that game.
Absolutely. It's a good old Tom Jane of the West.
Oh man. I feel like was it Chris Christopherson in that one somewhere too?
Yeah, he's your dad.
Oh man. Oh yeah, he's the one that's like telling you to shoot bottles. I'll throw one more up there.
Yeah, did she try to use your your slow-mo gun shooting?
Yeah, and when you're trying to do that with just the drawing on the mouse pad thing on the Steam Deck, you're hearing that phrase over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Well, the controller, the mouse sensitivity in that game by default is out of control.
Yeah, it's like you just move it like a millimeter and it goes all the way to the end of the screen.
So it flips around you 16 times. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Alyssa.
Next up is Tim Pollen, and he writes in difficulty settings, baby mode for the win, and attached is a picture from Wolfenstein The New Order, where the difficulty mode, Can I Play Daddy? Is selected, and we see BJ Blazkowicz with a baby bonnet and a pacifier in his mouth. I personally love that picture.
Yeah, they love shaming you in these games.
Hey man, if you can't laugh at yourself, should you even be laughing at all?
Yeah, I know. Funny thing though with the Wolfenstein, I know this because I used to be a hardcore achievement hunter. If you guys remember, you could play through that entire game on easy, the entire game, except for the final boss. You had to play on hard, and you would get the achievement for being on all difficulty level.
Oh,
I always like that little trick.
Yeah, and the final boss was not that hard. There was like a way to cheese it.
Nice.
So yeah.
Hey.
Let's see. We got one more. Mo over on Discord says, move crouch or slide to the right thumbstick. Move melee to original crouch button. Put sensitivity up.
Mo sounds like a competitive shooter player.
Yeah. I believe he plays. I think he and Matt both played a lot of Warzone.
Oh, understood.
Correctly. So, well, that was a fun topic. Thank you everybody that wrote in. Next week, this is one that Zack came up with. He wanted to talk about gaming tattoos. Do you have any gaming tattoos? If you have them, what are they? Let us know. We're going to put it up on the socials this week.
Do you have any plans or ideas for gaming tattoos that you want to share? Yeah.
Or if you have, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't have any. So I'm going to have ideas of ones that I would like to have, or maybe you just tell us some cool ones that you have seen. But show off your ink. I know you've heard us talk about, you've heard Zack and Alyssa talk about their tattoos in the past, but we want to hear from you guys. So that's going to be next week's topic.
Scott, how do we get you to get a tattoo? Well, you know what? Let's talk about it next week. We'll come. Yeah. We'll find a plan. We'll find a way to we'll trick you to tell you it's a great brewery, but then we'll strap you to a table.
I'll hold your hand through it if you need a handhold.
You think I would put a brewery on my body before a video game character?
No. I'm saying we're going to tell you that there's a hot new brewery in town. So
you're going to a brewery, but you're actually going to a tattoo party.
Oh, so then you're going to chloroform me, and then I'm just
exactly right. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
And then you'll wake up and you'll have a Triforce in your arm.
Dude, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, see, it's nothing to complain about. And we'll make sure the courage triangle is a little bit brighter, so you know your link.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good idea, man.
Yeah.
Get on the back of my hand, like right here.
Oh, wouldn't that be perfect?
Could you imagine how much that would hurt to get a tattoo on the back of your hand?
Yeah,
that sounds incredibly painful. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like it would hurt so much. But
so Alyssa would no doubt be wisdom. Does that mean I'm stuck with I'm going to be Ganondorf over here?
I mean, if the shoe fits.
All right.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode, as always, was produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zack, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
Yeah, you know what? I just started watching Arrested Development again.
Yeah?
For the first time since season 5 came out.
And that was 8 years ago?
Is that right?
I don't remember.
No, you're probably correct. It's just it's been a long time. An interesting note that revisiting the show has taught me, unfortunately, is that they've never made a comedy this good again. So you may as well just stop making sitcoms because it's just never going to get this good.
2018.
So yeah, 6 years ago.
6 years ago. I was
Oh
off.
my god, dude, I haven't watched wrestling in 6 years. Oh man, I used to watch this thing all the time. Like when I was a kid, on DVDs or whatever, just watch them over and over again.
Oh yeah, dude.
Look,
I need
it's
to go
one
back and watch
banana,
that shit.
Michael. What could it cost? $10? Yeah, that show's amazing.
I think one of my laugh out loud moments was when Tobias blew himself.
I'm afraid I blew myself. I love when he's like, I blew myself for nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Just the whole fact that he thought the Blue Man Group was a support group for people that were depressed. I just thought that was so funny.
It's very good.
That and the
No one in the family knows what a chicken sounds like.
I saw a YouTube reel of like everybody doing it their own way, and it's just it's so funny.
I love their progressing irritation of Anyang, the Korean boy they have adopted, and how everyone they're like, oh hey, how's Anyang doing? Anyang, because it's Korean for hello, and just none of them ever learned that.
Oh no,
and
you triggered the Korean. Annyeonghaseyo.
Yeah, well, yeah, but no one in the Blue family, Alyssa, has ever figured out that Anyang means hello.
He's saying hello, and they just think all he says is his own name.
He just screams his own name whenever they say it. Yeah, it's God, they're the worst people, really, the Bluths.
They are.
They're despicable.
I mean, like, you kind of cheer for Michael.
Yes, but even he, kind of gets wrapped up. But George Michael, again, yeah, I guess they're all... Michael's probably the best of the batch, but he ain't great.
And and that show's only 5 seasons. Like, easily, you can go through that one without a ton of...
Right. And in what season 4 is probably the weakest because all the actors their schedules didn't align.
Right.
So there's a lot of the characters were individualized a lot, but even then, still good.
And I didn't hate the last season. It didn't have the magic of the first 3, but
I thought it was a return to form though. Like that's what I wanted season 4 to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call, man. I gotta add it to my I keep rewatching stuff instead of watching new stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have a list of things that I've never watched. Like I want to go watch Cowboy Bebop. I own that.
Oh, it's so good.
Just so many new shows out, and I'm watching Big Bang Theory and Battlestar Galactica and House. Like I'm just,
you need that comfort. When so many new shows aren't structured like television shows, they feel like really long movies.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you hear that the new Stranger Things, the final season? Maya Hawke came out and said that like each episode is like movie length now.
Yeah, I heard that. Preposterous.
Yeah.
But they just don't make like the joy of House or Big Bang Theory is like when the episode is over, you have just been told a complete story.
Right.
And that doesn't happen with most modern shows.
There's some stuff that carries over for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're getting one complete story in this episode.
There's a B plot that goes throughout the season, but the A plot is always over and done with in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Alyssa, how about you?
Well, of course, we're going to Alyssa's Korean corner. And I watched this K-drama last week and this week, and it's called My Mister. And it is a very slow burn, I will say. I was not aware of the pacing, so it pays off in the end, but I think if people know ahead of time it's a slow burn, probably enjoy it a little bit more. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just I was not prepared for how slow it moves. But it's about this businessman in his 40s and this 21-year-old girl. And the businessman in his 40s is super successful and everything. He seems like he has a dream life, but he's really having trouble with his marriage. He's not happy. And the girl is really struggling. She's got a bunch of debt piled up. She's taking care of her grandma that she can't afford to put in a nursing home. They're both miserable. And they both starts working at the company he works at. And you see this, I like to call it a platonic love story unfold. You see how they become friends and how they become each other's anchor because they both really are so miserable. And neither of them really have a desire to live. They just keep living every day, day by day. But knowing each other.
I feel like half the shows you recommend include the word miserable at some point.
I guess Korean people are kind of miserable.
I guess
I am miserable, so
or
I gravitate towards that.
Life is about fighting through the misery, I suppose.
Yeah, but it is a show that it deals with some tough stuff and things that are uncomfortable to see at points. But then there's also hope that underlies everything, and I think it wrapped up perfectly. acting is amazing, which we Lee Soon Kyun, who is the male lead, is no longer with us, sadly. IU is great as female lead. She's also an amazing singer, but she doesn't sing in the show. I will say, I found my new favorite insult from this show. Very clever. I don't know. Well, in the subtitles, they call a certain woman a Grand Canyon, which I don't know. It probably doesn't explain this if you watch it on Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix, or you can watch it on what I watched it on Viki, but you have to be dedicated to have Viki. Viki tells you what that means. So they were pronouncing it as Grand Canyon. Canyon translates to a curse word in Korean. So whenever the subtitle Grand Canyon would come up, the guy would be saying Grand Canyon.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's an insult. But
I thought it meant that she spreads her legs as wide as the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
is that where you went, Scott? Yeah, okay.
Or that she's been used so much that it is now the size of the Grand Canyon,
like throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
There you go. That's where my mind.
No, the character's not like that. It's just the way they pronounce it in Korean, and then the way it's translated in English. You can call someone an insult by calling them a Grand Canyon.
Okay, understood.
Because Grand Canyon in Korean is a curse word.
Don't tell the kids that. That'll be the new slang.
Yeah,
I'm not
gonna say what it means on air.
That's cap.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm going to be teaching 8th graders this year. You think I'm not going to hear all that stuff?
Well, you should just remind them that like all of these were slang words when 30 years ago when you were younger, and then they'll begin to think it's not cool, even if it's not true. By the way, just tell them that.
No, gotta do that.
Ugh, you're so lame.
I saw there's a guy on YouTube or TikTok or whatever that said that he's a teacher, and he said that he's going to tell kids that those are the old school slang terms and these are the new ones, and he came up with a bunch that actually kind of makes sense, and he just put it out there to see if he could make it happen. Like he was going to have he was encouraging teachers to tell their students that these are the actual slang words, and then see if they catch on and become a thing. I've never followed up. I never followed up to find out. I don't remember what they were. I've never heard them again.
It's kind of an anticlimactic story.
I just thought it was a clever startup. It was just relatively recent, so it would take some time. And you know how kids are. If they don't come up with it, it's not cool.
Well, yes, of course. I was a kid. I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
You were once a kid. I'm sure you also thought the adults were lame.
No, I was scared of them. Pretty much.
Okay. Well, yeah. Your mother did raise you a certain way.
Yep. I saw A Quiet Place, the day one, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Quiet Place, day one.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised at what that movie was. If you've seen the first two Quiet Place movies, that they're very much thriller, borderline horror style movies, but just with a clever take on them with the lack of sound and the sign language in this and that. This one is, like as the title would insinuate, it's the first time that these things show up. It's not, well into it like the first two movies were. And this movie turns out to be less and less about the horror elements or the thriller elements, although that is present there. But it is, it's more a character piece about these two characters and their interaction and what happens between the two of them that is very, very touching. Like it's really well done. Now, I will say that it's not one that I feel like I need to see again. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to rush out and can't wait to see that. But I don't mean to diminish the quality of this film. It's very well done. It's just it's a one and done. But I was very surprised with what they did and how touched I was with these two characters. And also, there's one actor in the movie that I didn't know was in the movie. I don't know if it's, I don't remember him in the marketing. So I don't want to say in case it's supposed to be a surprise, but there was one of the main characters that you don't get introduced at the very beginning of the movie. I was like, oh, that guy. It was kind of fun for me personally.
Okay.
Maybe I'm in the minority. Everyone's like, we know who you're talking about, Scott. Everybody knows, but just in case, maybe I'm the weirdo that just didn't see the right trailer or whatever. But the person that was in this, I was like, oh, I've been waiting to see him in something else in quite a while, and I found
is he a somewhat prominent black actor?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's what I was thinking as well, Zach. So
yeah, understood. Jimon
who?
Hansu. Yeah. Oh, this. Yeah. Yeah. So he wasn't.
That guy
Guardians
has been like just tortured with that one word, probably. 'Cause that's like what the who guy. Like forever.
I mean, it is funny the way he says it.
It is funny.
Yeah, his name's Jimon Hansu. Is that right?
Yeah, wasn't he in
So-
Amistad back in the day?
He was, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's the wizard in Shazam.
Oh, there you go. Well, guys, this has been fun. It has been awesome chatting with the two of you. Looking forward to next week already. Next week? No, not next week. The following week will be just me and Zack because we're gonna be doing it live, sitting right with each other. That's gonna be awesome.
That's the theory, anyway.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out how we can make that happen. But
Wait a minute, are we shortchanging Alyssa on the gaming tattoo thing?
Oh, snap!
So we might have to do maybe do some kind of special. Maybe we'll talk about pinball a lot.
Yeah, because we're gonna play a lot of pinball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to having the lowest score on every table. Can't wait.
So this will be next week.
Yeah, next week we're supposed to talk about. No. Next week is going to be tattoos. The week after that is when I'm going to be in Portland. So
Okay,
yeah, we're
I
good.
got confused. Okay.
Yeah,
We are
as did
good.
I clearly.
Yeah, Alyssa's got it all together. The week after
thank
that,
God
we're talking about
Alyssa's here.
gaming novels. So just
Okay. Yeah.
heads up. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but thanks everybody. Until next week, I am Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.